You all to please rise for the invocation and our pledges. I didn't check with you, Connie. I guess we're on air. Sorry. We're good.
Your Honor, thank you for this time. Let's pray. Father God, I thank you, Father, for this beautiful and wonderful day that you've given us, Lord. A day of life, Father God, that we have woken up this morning, Lord, ready, Father, to face the day that you have given. I thank you, Father, for this time. I thank you for the Commissioner's Court. I thank you for Judge Connie Scott and the Commissioners, Father. I ask, Lord, that you would just give them, Father, wisdom, discernment, understanding, compassion, gentleness, kindness, everything, Lord, that your heart calls for. I thank you for this day. I thank you for the work that needs to get done. I ask, God, Lord, that you would just bless the hands that are working here today, that whatever they set their hands to do, it shall prosper, as your word says. Father, we thank you, Father, for every decision that has to be made. We thank you, Father, for every movement that has to be made in this court, Father God, that your hand will be upon everything. We trust in you. We thank you for all that you do, all that you've done. We ask all this in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. We have all commissioners here present. It is Wednesday, January 17th, and it is 9:07. We are at 901 Leopard Street in the Nueces County Courthouse, and I call this meeting to order. And moving on to item D, do we have any disclosures of conflicts of interest from any commissioner? There being none, you can always bring it up if you need to at that moment. Public comment, do we have the public comment sheet? Sorry. While she's getting the sheet, you commissioners might want to see if there's anything you need to pull from the consent agenda for further discussion. And there is 2 people signed up, but they wish to speak when the item comes up. So is there anybody else here that wishes to speak on public comment that didn't have a chance to sign up? Looks like we're pretty bare today. Thank you. So moving on to item F, board appointments. We have number 1, the Nueces County Beach Management Advisory Committee.
Judge, hang on, I'm sorry. I had that open.
Yes.
Judge, on that, we have letters of intent from 3 returning members that I would like to move to reappoint, and that's Florence Tissot, and I apologize for the pronunciation, Frederick Dotz, and Natasha Davis.
We have a motion and a second on reappointing the 3 encumbrance letters of intent. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes.
Judge, I think we have, that leaves us 2 remaining. I got to confirm that with making sure, right? We have 2 remaining spots, I think, that still need to be filled. On that, let me look at my list.
That's what I see, yes.
I would like to make a motion to nominate Richard Rick Adams of Port Aransas to fill one of those slots.
I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes.
And then, Judge, I had a question on one of them. Could I come back a little bit later on that I was
Yes,
waiting for a
sure.
response on the last one on that?
Commissioner Hernandez, did you have a question also?
Yes, Judge, I was just wondering, there's a motion to put another board member back on the board. for SD4?
Oh, that's,
Oh, that's not yet. We're not at that one
That
yet.
too
We're
soon?
on the beach management, BMAC
Oh, I'm
board,
sorry.
the first, that's okay.
It's on the regular agenda.
And that's on the regular agenda, yes. So we'll come back to this one, come back to F. And then number 2, on the Nueces County Civil Service Commission, we have 3 positions and 1 incumbent applied. I believe there has been a problem with the notification. Some of the email addresses were wrong. I would make the motion to reappoint Albert Carrillo. Uh-huh.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. And then I would make the motion to reopen for applications.
Can we just go ahead and nominate Robert Tomez, even though he's not wanting to stay on, and just see
Well,
if
he
he'll?
said last week that he
I know.
would, but we don't have a letter from him. Yes.
I
We
would.
need to.
He's a holdover. We could just never do
Time
anything.
you think he wants to really
Yes.
tell us to get out.
He's a holdover, and anyway, I was being kind of funny, but he's certainly done a great job for us, so.
So the court can reopen for applications from January 17th to the 31st. And in the meantime, we may contact people and contact the remaining board members to make sure they are receiving these notifications and also see if they have one in mind. But I need a motion to reopen from January 17th to January 31st and bring back on the February 7th meeting, put this on the agenda.
So moved.
Okay, I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. And then item number 3 on Nueces County Emergency Services, District Number 3, there is 1 position open and 1 applicant. Javier Carrillo.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint. And any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. The motion passes. Thank you. On number 2, the consent agenda, do any of you have any items you wish to pull? I want to pull item G.
G. Pool.
Judge, I'm sorry, I needed to,
I'm sorry.
I just needed to, I wanted to add, and I probably need to just pull E, because I want to add some funds to one of them, if that's okay.
Pull, you want a motion to pull E?
E, just because I want to add some funds there.
Oh, you're just going to pull it to
Yeah, that's all.
discuss?
Yes,
You don't
ma'am.
want to pull it from the deal? Okay.
Well, I just want, yeah,
All of
just,
it?
G and E for
well,
discussion.
E3, how about that? Just E3.
E3, okay.
I'm just going to add. Huh? No, I'm just going to
He's
add
adding
some.
his own.
Yeah,
Yes, he's going to put something else in.
sorry.
So I will accept a motion.
Excuse me, Judge.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Is it okay that we do add money just today?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to add some others.
On the ones that are on the list,
Yes.
just tell her, yeah.
Which numbers do you want to pull?
It's gonna be, E1,
E1,
E4.
E1 and E4. So I will add 1, 3, and 4 for further discussion.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, thank you. I will make a motion to pass the consent agenda excluding items G, E1, E3, and E4.
I got a question on one of them, Judge.
Oh, go ahead,
That-
sorry.
Oh, did you,
You want to second the motion?
I
then we'll just-
seconded, and
okay.
then, do you want to pull something?
Yeah, I think so, because I saw something here, man, I lost it.
While he's looking at that, can I just clarification? I didn't see the no cash match on G. Is that because there is a cash match on that one?
That's why I pulled it. We'll talk about
Oh,
it.
that's what
when
you
I-
pulled.
yes.
I'm sorry, my
That's
apologies.
okay.
My apologies.
Yeah, it shouldn't have been in there. Which one did you have a question on, Commissioner?
Man, I lost it. I don't know what that was. Something to approve, but I was wondering why we're approving it. Authorizing the commissioner.
Maybe
What, G?
number,
We already pulled out
J.
G?
She pulled G.
I pulled G.
Right, J.
And
J.
You want to pull
J?
J?
okay,
Also, do we pull K? How about K? You said receive update on the public defender. How can we receive update on?
because it's in your packet for you to look at instead of them coming doing a presentation, yeah.
Normally a presentation would be from them. I mean, that's what I would prefer, but, because you can ask them questions, but, is there any different, well, I haven't gone, I'll
You-
check. I just
You can
didn't-
pull it
You
if
can
you
pull-
want to
Let
pull
me-
it for
yeah,
discussion.
just tell her to come
Yes.
do
Yeah,
it.
let me pull K, yeah.
Yes.
And then would someone get a hold of Ms. Obregon and tell her that Commissioner Gonzalez has questions? That good?
Yep.
Okay, we have lots of things to pull, so I want to retract my motion and
Retract
add, my motion is to pull item G, E1, E3, E4, J, and K. You still seconding,
Yes,
Commissioner
ma'am, sorry. I'm
Chesney?
seconding your,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. So, first we have E1, Commissioner Hernandez.
Oh, E,
We
approve it?
approved all the rest except for the ones I listed just then. A motion to pass excluding those items, yes, okay. Did you get the list? Do you need me to repeat it? Okay, okay. Now we're going to E1 because I believe there's some changes to it.
Yes,
Commissioner?
yes, Judge, instead of 500, I'll make it an even 1,000.
And I guess, Teresa, you're checking we all have these funds available to add to this, okay?
Correct, Judge.
Yes, okay. So you have a motion to increase yours from 500 to 1,000. I'll second your motion. All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Thank you, Judge.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. On item 3, that was yours, Commissioner Chesney?
Yes, ma'am. I would just like to add $1,000 from Precinct 4 funds for that as well.
I will
That would
second
be my
that
motion.
motion
Thank
as
you.
well. We have a motion and a second to add Commissioner Chesney's funds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Item number 4 is you, Commissioner Hernandez, again.
Yes, ma'am. Again, I want to, from 500, make it 1,000.
I'll second.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, that's fine.
Yes.
No, it's okay.
I'll second that motion.
Piggyback on the motion, I'd like to
Add,
make it mine an even 1,000 as well.
and
1,000?
Precinct 3.
from precinct 1 and precinct 3, want to add 500 to theirs to make it an even 1,000. We have a motion and a second. All those in, I'm sorry, do you have something, Teresa?
I just wanted to note that we'll bring them back as amended with the additional amounts.
Because I'll have
What?
to do contracts for those,
New
Right.
contracts?
the amount.
We have contracts
Yes.
already.
Oh.
They've already
Yes,
signed
they've
and
already
billed.
signed, so we'll have to amend
So I
it.
can, I'll bring them back as an amendment.
Sorry, Teresa, more work for you.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you,
Any
Teresa.
opposed, same sign. And on item G, I pulled because this has a cash match. And this is an application for a grant. They say they apply for the same amount of a current grant, but the match will come from the general fund. Do we do this always? Does anybody, for it to be put on consent, I was surprised that this has a cash match and wasn't brought up for discussion.
Every year, this is brought up, there is a cash match available to this, and we looked into the funds that this would normally be put into in the general, into the special revenue funds. Pardon me, and there's only like 19,000 where the match is around 20-some thousand. So we can still take part of the match out of the Fund 13, but the remaining would have to come out of the general fund.
But, and this is their funds that are dedicated, that are budgeted to this item, and they're short.
This is your GPS monitoring ankle bracelets that the courts have, and it's supposed to be for the monitoring offenders against women. However, sometimes the court does use this for other means, and at times we have to take that out and put it into this Fund 13 because it doesn't qualify for the grant. And that time, that's why we had Fund 13 set up, and we do have funds going into that, about 10,000 a year from the general fund, but this didn't cover the total amount that was needed.
Okay, and if we use this, that's not gonna put us in a bind with something else that we normally use this fund for?
So you're saying we do or we don't have this available?
We have about $10,000 to $15,000 are currently available in the special revenue funds, but I think the match is over 20-something thousand.
So where's the other one coming
So
from?
the rest of the match would have to come from the general fund.
From contingency, from what?
Yes. from contingency, yes.
20,348, so it would be another 10,000 coming out of the general fund?
Yes, around that amount, yes, somewhere around that number, yes. And we do normally match grants from the general fund when it's needed.
So,
And there is a budget in there, but I don't know if this one is the one was budgeted at this time. I believe we might have put it in as a budget item for Fund 13, so, I mean, Fund 11, so it might be there already.
And this is a
So.
pretty important thing for our courts and monitoring of offenders against women, by all means. I certainly believe this is worthy of this discussion. Don't mean this in any way to think that we don't think this is, I think we should do this. My vote would be yes today, but.
And I do believe in the general fund, when we did our budget last fiscal year, we did include a certain amount for this particular grant.
but just not enough.
Just not enough.
Well, not enough for Fund 13, but Fund 11 will cover the rest.
I'm with the judge on this too. I think that's great. What I'd like to do is, before we make a motion on this, is have some sort of motion that says anything that has a cash match should go on the regular agenda as a matter of course. So I would like to make that motion before we finish this item up, since it's
Second
related.
motion.
Yeah, and we try to catch that in
No,
this
no,
one.
I know
And
you
I
do.
think we talked about it in our review, but it got put back in here. But any of the department heads, when you put anything on the agenda, as department heads do put their own items, if it has a cash match, it needs to come up for the general, the regular agenda, not for the consent agenda. So we shouldn't have to
With a real
watch for
good
these.
justification, because as discussion, if I can, Judge,
Yeah,
with the
please.
motion, I would really like this court to really have maybe, and I hate to use the word workshop because you can't take action workshop, but some sort of ability to really look at all our grants, because I think we need to look and see where we can to evolve away from cash match grants as much as possible. I know that's not possible to do in all, but again, then listening to these continuing education courses that I hear all over the place, several counties are going away from a lot of these grants because there's so many strings attached and so many things that come along with it. I get that sometimes you have to do it, but I think we, as a court, need to have that discussion at some point. So I'd like to figure out how to, I'll put that on next agenda as just an item, but I would like to have that discussion going forward. And I agree with you, this is worth doing, and most of them are worth doing. All of them are probably worth doing, or we wouldn't agree to do them, but it's just, it puts the county in a bit of a financial situation. We just need to make sure we want to be there. So I'll put that on for discussion at a future agenda.
So we have a motion first for any department heads to put any cash match, a motion and a second for cash matches to be on the regular agenda, not the consent agenda. So,
I second it because, Judge, and I agree with Commissioner in a certain point. But I second it because I want it to be known that we go into the general fund. And sometimes we ask for things, and he said, you can't do it because you can't come out of the general fund. So now we're gonna take something out of the general fund for one, and we should be able to consider something else that comes up out of the general fund.
Now, looking at the budget book, we did budget this item as a budget item, so it's already appropriated there for this particular one grant.
Right, that's why I asked. 'cause
money is
it's already in there.
budgeted for
That's what
the
you said.
total
yes.
amount, not for the 10,000.
Total amount, yes, for
Total.
$20,000, yes.
Oh, well, then
No,
we're
he's saying he
budgeted.
budgeted
It was out
It
of
was
their
budgeted,
fund.
yes. It was budgeted last year.
Okay,
Right.
then we're good.
I
For the
agree
current
with
budget we're in,
where you're
yes.
going. That's why I asked the question. That's why I said it. He's saying it was budgeted.
We wouldn't have had this discussion
Or
if
we
we'd have
wouldn't.
known it was already
Yes.
budgeted to that department, yes.
It was budgeted for the general fund for
Anna is
$20,349.
here, I didn't see you. You're always hiding on me.
I'm sorry, but if we are doing, during budget season, budget time, the auditors will ask grants what is pending, what have we applied for, if there's any cash matches, so they can put it into the budget coming up.
And this was already put in your budget?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Well, this is an application for next year, which will be 24, 25. So this
This
will be put
budgeted
in the
for-
budget for, yes.
Yes, we apply for this every year. and
We
get
apply for it
the
every
same-
basically
year,
the same
so,
amount
and
we
it's the
match.
same amount, so yes,
But it's in there
for this.
this year, and it'll just be put back in for next year if we get it.
Yes.
Get it, and
Correct.
the
This is
court
not
agrees
an
for it, yes.
additional- okay. Just making
So,
sure, 'cause I
going
agree with
back to
Commissioner
our
Gonzalez.
motions, right now, we're making a motion on department heads. When you enter an item onto the agenda for us to bring to court, if it has any cash match, any fees, fine, anything attached, it has to go on the regular agenda. Do not put it on the consent agenda.
Understood.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Now we'll accept a motion to pass item G. I will make the motion since I pulled it to pass item G with the cash match that has been budgeted for this department and will be budgeted again next year for future. It's been budgeted in the past.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you. Item J is just, and I don't know why it has, it's just a going out for applications because one of the board members on the Nueces County Animal Service Advisory Board resigned, so we have one open position.
Actually,
No,
oh,
one is, the other one doesn't end until June. He's moving out of state, but he is still wanting to serve until June.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So
Fine.
there is one person that resigned, so there will be one opening on that board. Tara has to post it to ask for applications. This is our simple procedure that
So
we
moved.
just allow her to do that. Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Item K on receive an update on the Public Defender's Office. I am told that Janice is in a meeting, in a workday workshop or something. I will also tell you, in the past with these updates, we were instructed by you all that we didn't want people talking forever, that if they could do a presentation and put it in the consent agenda, we could all read it. If we wanted them here for questions, as you may have questions today, we could call them. If you'd like for me to catch
That's
her
fine.
later and bring it back, if she's maybe out of her meeting, then
Yeah.
we can call her if you have questions on it.
Yeah, well, you can't, again, we can't treat everything talking forever. I mean, I don't know what that means. I mean, we have to limit their time, I guess, to 3 minutes like everybody else. But sometimes you need to hear from them what's going on, where we at with the staff.
She, in her thing, if you read her thing, it is a great report, and I'm sure she would love to be here to report that she has fully staffed and has everybody, and they have they have done over 400 active cases. They have disposed of 400. They have all their lawyers staffed. I think they had a problem with one of their administrators or something that left to go somewhere else, but they already got that person replaced, so they are fully staffed and functioning, that department. So it was a great update. I'm sure she would love to come and talk about it later, and if she gets out of her meeting, I think they've already notified her, we'll pull her back up and let her talk about it, if that's okay
So
with
there's
you.
no issues, no kinks or anything
No
right now?
issues or kinks or anything at all.
And Commissioner, Judge, I think stated that was what we all did ask that we do, and then all any of us need to do is just pull it and let them know in advance that they want them to be here, and you can.
If you have a question you wanna
yeah,
ask
I mean,
her or something,
absolutely.
but-
Well, I mean, sometimes,
Yeah,
you want it, sometimes you don't want it. so-
Right.
I know, that's why we decided we would put it here and pull it if we need it.
Okay.
But
You want her to come
this
back.
is a glowing report. They are doing awesome and will be moved into their new offices hopefully by
Was-
February.
That was my
So,
next question. too,
yeah,
so.
it's February in here too, but this report states all of it, so
so do
it's
you want her
good.
to,
No, that's fine. I
Okay.
mean,
You're fine.
Then I'll-
I can talk to her later.
then I'll make a motion to
Motion.
pass, and
So
if that's okay? Okay.
We have a motion and a second to pass. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Thank you. Then, moving on to our regular agenda, I am going to pull up items first because we have some guests here that we would like for them to go ahead and be able.
And 7, Judge, they're.
6 and 7 are together, but I was going to do 6 first. Discuss and consider accepting a donation of 7.5 acres of land from Corpus Christi High Point Investments LLC for a drainage project. And we are very happy and very excited to have you all here. I will turn it over to you. That's your,
Judge, thank you very much, and Juan's going to help me with this. Let me say, first of all, Judge, I'd like Mr. Tamez, Mr. Gonzalez, if they want to say
they
something.
signed up and they both want to speak,
Okay,
so I was
perfect.
going to have them come up.
But let me say before they come up, before Juan comes up, this is really an unbelievable gift that High Point Investments is making. The drainage issues that we have in London are significant, like we have in many areas of the county. And we've all been working on drainage projects in our precincts. And this is one that I've been struggling with for quite a while in regards to the area that we're talking about. We, as we all know, we've got CBDG money, but who knows when that's going to come about based on the application process and when we get it back from the state and so forth. I'd previously allocated some funds from ARPA funds to this area and was trying to come up with which project I would go with first. And a lot of these projects, as we all know, require the land to do it. And so far with these projects, this was the one that has hit first because of the generosity of High Point Investments, which is the Tamez family and the Gonzalez family. And it is so much appreciated that they're doing this today. And again, I just want to thank you all very much on behalf of all the residents of Nueces County. This is going to have a huge impact in the London area, the Rabbit Run area, the South Prairie area, the areas that you have property in that you're, I know, spending a lot of time working to develop. I know you have property that I think you live out there, Bobby, if I'm not mistaken. And so this is, I know, I know you you suffer the flooding yourself. So this is just a step in the right direction, Judge, and we couldn't be doing this project if, one, we didn't have the funding available through ARPA, but also if we didn't have the ability of the Tamez and the Gonzalez family to make this donation. So truly, I don't think the folks in London realize how impacting this is going to be. We're gonna in just a few minutes, we're gonna reallocate some of the funds that I'd previously allocated out in general to that area. But we couldn't do this project without your families doing this, and it's greatly appreciated. And if you want to hear what Juan's presentation is first, or if you want to speak first, I want to make sure that you have that opportunity, because I want the folks to see how impacting this is going to be on the area, and it wouldn't have been possible without y'all doing this. So thank you, many times thank you. So if you want to go first and then let Juan, that's fine, or if you want Juan to go first, that doesn't matter, but I do want the court and the public to see the impact that this project is going to have on that area.
Can you open up that previous one? The other one? Yes, ma'am, please. There's two of them. There's a pond.
This was the pond.
Okay, we can use that one right now.
I can open the other one.
Okay. Just to kind of give general location. And Judge and Commissioners, Commissioner's correct. This is going to be a huge impact to the drainage out in the London area. The estimated square miles of the impact is going to be, on the upstream side, is going to be a little bit over 6 square miles, Commissioner, just to kind of give you an idea. This is an aerial view of the proposed facility. If you look to the left side, that's hashed in. That area is where the proposed pond is going to be constructed. The little finger that you see to the right, that's going to be kind of like a shared access for the county and also for the owner to access their property. And at the same time, we can access the pond for maintenance, or we needed to do some type of improvements within that facility. The size of the pond is going to be about from 7 acres to a little bit over 7 acres of a detention facility. Wow. And that is going to be a big detention facility. We're estimating anywhere from the depth of it to be anywhere from 10 to 15 feet in depth, or deeper if we can, depending on the water table out there. And that's gonna be part of the design once the engineer gets involved. But this is gonna be an impactful. You do have the Oso, I call it the Oso tributary, the drainage way that goes in between those two properties. That's gonna get rerouted into that pond and then have an overflow to exit any type of overflow that we get from the excess amount of watershed, from the watershed. You wanna go to the next one, Connie?
And Judge, let me say while he's switching slides too, Juan and his staff have been instrumental in this as well. We have been talking about this for, I don't know, 2 years, it seems like. I mean, it seems like 2 decades, but it's been a long time, and he reached out to Mr. Temez, Mr. Gonzalez, and made the initial contact with them, and they've really worked hard to come up with a plan that's gonna really have a great impact. So I wanna thank you while you're standing there as well, Juan. So please proceed, but your staff has been instrumental in getting this done, and I'm greatly appreciative of that.
Yes, sir. And then, and you can leave that one up there kind of for a little bit. I'm sorry. Well, on that one, you can see that, that Riber runs on the south end of the tributary of that, the River runs on the south side, and then you have South Prairie on the north side of that detention facility. The next one, Connie, please.
There's only one slide, and there's.
The next one, yes, yes, ma'am.
And tell me real quick how that's gonna kind of affect the flow, if you can go back show me how that's gonna affect the flow there, and how it's gonna help those folks with their specific drainage needs out there.
Yes, sir. On that one, Commissioner, that, there's the creek that runs in between South Prairie and River Run, drains in between and goes down to State Highway 286, and then it flows out to the Oso, out to the bay. So it is gonna be an impactful because it'll capture some of that water that's being held on the back end side, and it'll be held in the detention pond facility.
And I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but how much water, in layman terms, is this gonna be able to hold, just to give people kind of an idea, if you have it, and I didn't really tell you I was gonna ask that question.
I should have made those calculations,
No,
but, yes, sir, and I had done some calculations on it, Commissioner, and I don't wanna throw out a big number, but,
okay,
but
fair.
it is gonna be a huge facility, and
Yeah, I withdraw my question.
Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead. But
Yes,
it's
sir.
gonna be
it's
very.
gonna be huge, yes, sir.
It's gonna be huge, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Go to- Yes, ma'am. Go to the next one, please, Connie. And the next exhibit kind of shows how, like Commissioner says, how much of a watershed this is, that goes through this, that's gonna go through this detention facility. If you look at the, there's a red line that demarks the northern side of the watershed. That watershed that kind of shows, and you tie the red line to the black line, it's about 6.6 square miles of watershed that goes through this creek, and then also that's going to be going into this detention pond. So all this is going to be captured in that area, and then it's going to be slowly released into the east side, which is going to be the Oso Bay, and then slowly, I say slowly, release it into the Oso Bay. So it's not only going to impact the 6.6 square miles on the upstream side, but it's going to impact the whole 12 square miles. I think it's like 12 square miles total of the watershed that it's going to be impacted.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
And then one thing that can be done, Commissioner, and this is part of the that we're going to request from the engineers, is that some of those areas are within the floodway and the floodplain. And this is going to be impacted that too, because your floodway might be impacted to where your water elevation is going to go down, and the people that are going to have insurance for water damage, I mean, some of those can go back to the insurance company, and it can affect them also in the future.
And Juan, the map that you have captured here, I was trying to see if maybe precinct 1, but at least 3 of the precincts are captured in this map. So does that mean there will be some relief in some, I know mainly in precinct
Impact.
4, impact in precinct 2, but even my precinct's listed, so we may see some.
Well, on
Residual
this,
savings.
and I apologize for that, Commissioner. I know that we show the different precincts in there, but this one's going to be more impactful in the
Oh,
precinct.
yeah, no, I get that,
Yes,
but
sir.
that's why I was asking,
Yes, sir.
do you anticipate this helping any other areas, or mainly just this general area right around?
It's going to be more in that general area,
Just the
Commissioner.
general,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Because that watershed, all that watershed that you see in the black outline is directed in water, and the water flows through this area.
Just-
Yes, sir, and most of it's gonna be within, between County Road 22 south, a little bit north of that. It's gonna go all the way to County Road 51, 53, and 55. Those areas are gonna be also part of this drainage. And then from the south side, you're gonna have County Road 18 that's gonna drains towards back into this facility, proposed facility.
Judge, I would just, were you done, Juan?
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
would
sir.
make the motion, and I want to let the Temes family and the Gonzalez family speak if they would like to, but I would like to make the motion to get it on the floor to accept the donation of approximately 7.5 acres of land from CC High Point Investment LLC for a drainage project in the London area as proposed on the agenda item backup.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and multiple seconds. Everybody's excited. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
It's for them
Aye.
to
You don't want
speak.
to,
Yeah,
I was going to let them speak
Well,
anyway,
discussion,
yeah.
right.
That's- yeah.
We can go ahead.
John,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll get that over with. We would love to hear from you guys, and we are so appreciative. Thank you.
Judge Scott, Commissioners, it is our honor to be here today, and this is a great example of how the public sector and the private sector come together to improve our community. So I thank all of you for voting positively on this item today. In particular, I'd like to thank Commissioner Chesney. We have worked substantially with Commissioner Chesney in meetings, and I can say that he is a true leader. He has just brilliantly created this, and we had excellent meetings with Juan Pimentel as well. I thank him and his staff. You certainly have a very experienced and highly skilled engineering staff. So we had some great meetings, but in particular, Commissioner Chesney, I personally thank you for spearheading this and leading this. Obviously, it's not every day that landowners come forward and donate very valuable pieces of property, but my family and John Temez's family have been here for generations, and we have substantially donated to our community in the past. And in fact, we brought my daughter Haley Gonzalez, a local attorney, and Chaz Temez, John's son and my godson, here, and Chaz is in college and also working with John, to show them, what you should do for your community. When it's time for you to step up and assist, in this case, your county, you do it whenever possible. And so we want them many years from now to perhaps do the same to help our community. Our community, of course, has given us so much, and John and I, we love this place. We came back home when in our generation, when few did, and Brent, as you know, when few did, and but it's been a great home and a beautiful home for us, and so it's just a wonderful honor to give this to the county, and in particular, do it in a way that has such a substantial benefit to the community. So again, I will thank the entire Commissioners Court, and in particular Commissioner Chesney, because it was hard work, and it was, in my opinion, by Commissioner Chesney, brilliant work, and hopefully it will provide a great betterment for the citizens of Nueces County. And so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gonzalez, I appreciate that. Very kind words. And I think we still have some paperwork. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Nueces is going to speak. So we still have some paperwork. I know Jenny and I meant to make that motion, so I need to correct that contingent upon the paperwork being completed. So I did want to add that back in before I forgot that, and then I'm going to defer to Mr. Temez. But again, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate your kind words.
I wanted to add that the county judge, Connie Scott and commissioners, that this began with trust with the stakeholders and the county government. And I want to thank you for giving that environment for us to work with you. And again, Commissioner Chesney for reaching out to us and taking the initiative of making this happen. And your staff, Pimentel, has done an excellent job, and it's been a pleasure working with them. And we look forward to continue to work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Temez. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I just want to say thank you, Councilman Gonzalez, thank you for always being there for the community, you always been there. I remember you about 30 years ago when you were involved together in some organizations, and you still are, so I commend you for that, your family. So, but if you get any more property, I'm right next door. Right next door, so. I'm only kidding, but we are looking for land.
No, he's not kidding either. I thought Mr. Mars would ask for that too.
He beat me to the punch, actually. That's what happens when you buzz late. But yes, thank you to the Tamez and Gonzalez family. I mean, and you look at the developments, the work that you have put into our community, it's throughout Nueces County. It's not just limited to one area. And so I can't imagine what the value is of this, but what it pays for in just giving to the community and for potential development, because that's the one thing we always hear when we come up, and obviously you're aware of that with all the developments that you do. It's like that drainage is a game changer. If you have great drainage, people are going to want to move there. Or if they don't, then they still may move there, but then realize once we get our first big rain event that it was not worth it. And then they come usually to us. So to be so proactive in this way, and then obviously once again with the value that I can't imagine what's included for this property or what it would go for on the open market is an unbelievable gift that you have given to this community. So thank to each of you, both families, for all that you've done. Thank you.
Judge, if I could, I'm sorry, were you going
I
to?
think Commissioner Hernandez was going
I
to.
just want to thank the family as well, and thank you very much for your contribution to our community, and thank you for showing the young people how they can help, when they can help, and we appreciate that. You know, it's going to alleviate a lot of problems, it's going to alleviate a lot of calls in my office also, because a lot of people confuse my precinct with the London area. But anyway, it's going to help us all. Thank you very much.
Juan, could you, and I'm hoping that Jenny can get the paperwork expedited pretty quickly on transferring the property over. Assuming that gets done, could you kind of give, because I know there's some folks from London that were tuning in to watch this today too, because they have been very interested in it. Could you kind of give us a timeline on how fast, once I do number 7, once we get that going, what your feeling is on how we can do this in a pretty...
Just Commissioner, I think, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Timeline, Commissioner, once we get the engineers on board, we're looking probably anywhere from, I would say, estimate anywhere from 3 to 4 months for the design process. And then probably right after that, hopefully you get the final design on it and then go out for bids. And then construction, you're probably looking about, I'm estimating on the high end, about a year, probably less than that, Commissioner.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir. I'm estimating on the high side.
Okay, so we should have this completed by the end of this year, right?
Which leads
just
us
kidding. I'm not doing my
into
math.
We'll try.
item number 7.
We'll try.
All right, fair.
Thank you.
And,
We'll-
and
thank you, Juan.
amazing, our sincere thanks to both of you, the Temez family and the Gonzalez family. Know you both, and this is truly a great gift and a great sentiment to your value and feelings about our county and what you have done for many, many years. So this is not surprising, but we're very, very thankful. Yes. But moving into item number 7, to get this project actually started, and what Juan just gave us a timeline on, is to discuss and consider unallocating $1 million from Precinct 4 ARPA London Drainage Improvement Projects to reallocate $1 million to the Detention Pond Project in this And this is your area and your money, Commissioner Chesney?
Yes, ma'am, I would make the motion to unallocate $1 million from Precinct 4 General ARPA London Drainage Improvement to specifically allocate the money, $1 million, to the detention pond project in the London area as donated by the CC High Point Investments, and to assign Freeze Nichols as the engineer on said project. That would be my motion, Judge.
We have a motion and.
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion on this project? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes, and we are ready to begin work. Thank you again.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
being here as well.
And Jenny,
Yes.
could you just give me an idea, how fast you think we can get that paperwork going? Because that's obviously the key to all this, too.
Tonight,
My understanding is that the deed is being prepared by the donors, and we will receive that, or it will
Get
be
it.
filed, and then we'll receive
Move
it
it
after
to the
that.
top to get reviewed and
Awesome.
approved, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
If I need help with that, let me know, but
Okay.
I'm counting on you keeping that on top of that one,
we're
too.
ahead of everybody else, man, come on.
Come
I
on.
don't care, you got land.
Okay.
once, for once.
Item number 1, do
Always
we
ahead of me.
have a Bob Hall Pier project update?
Judge, just in the, it's.
In the packet?
Yeah, it's in the
Yes.
packet, and
Mhm.
again,
No one is here to present or
no, it's
anything, yes.
just to receive it, and I would have put this on consent, but I keep getting told I can't, so
Cannot, no.
At least you
Right,
didn't
I
put it on
You did it the
regular.
right way,
At least you
but-
didn't put it on regular unless you got something to talk.
I don't either. They tell me I have to, Commissioner.
You don't have
You-
to.
If you have something to add
There
to the
is.
back, if you have something that is just a report, you can put it in consent. If
Okay.
you have someone going to be here to present, yes, it has to go in the regular.
Well, I had it.
If you have nothing on it and it's blank like it's
You
been
would
for
regular.
several meetings, that has to be on the regular if you want to bring it out and talk about it.
Okay, so can I put this on consent going forward, Jenny? Because I'm going to always have a report on here. So
As
you're the
long
one
as-
who told me I couldn't put it on consent. No, Jenny was the one who advised me not to put it on consent, or I would have had this on consent every time. So if I have backup now, can I put it on
You
consent?
shouldn't even be there unless you got something to.
It can
I do,
be
that's what I have as a
just
report. This is a report
like
every
the
time.
public defender's office. If it is just a report, have it on there. We can all read it. If we have questions, we'll call ahead and say we want someone here.
Okay. All right, I'll
He
reword, I'll
told you to
reword
take
it.
it off when you had nothing on there. It
There's
was
going to be
just an
something on there
open-
every time. That's what I'm
But
trying
you
to tell
said
you.
discuss and consider. You can't discuss and consider on consent unless you pull it out, so it had to be in the regular agenda.
No, all due respect, this is the wording right here that was on the consent agenda as given to me by Jenny. Then I was told to pull it off the consent agenda by you or someone else and put it on the regular. I didn't put it on the regular. I wanted it on consent. I'm gonna have a report on it every time. I don't need it on regular. So tell me the wording y'all want me to do, because I wanted it on consent.
I think that's discretionary with the court. You have,
Okay, so I'm gonna put this back on
Receive
consent.
updates, I think you won't get a problem from any of the court. If it's an update, when it said discuss and consider
Well, but it may
updates.
be, but
Yes.
it may be, like, just like we're pulling something off of consent to discuss and consider with the Dennis Obregon, so I'm gonna put it on like this, but it still will have action if need be, right? All I-
if you intend to take an action, Commissioner,
Well,
you'd need to indicate that in the,
Okay, so,
it'll be a
That would
different
change
circumstance.
the
I'm sure.
wording,
Yeah.
yes.
but, okay, so let's talk about that. Every item on the consent agenda is an action item, every one of them. We just don't, we vote on all of them, so that's an
It
action
can be if
item.
you pull it.
But if it says receive update and it doesn't say and consider whatever action you're considering, then that is, I think, where the notice could be more clear.
Okay. I only worded this because this is how you told me to word it and put it on consent. And then it got pulled to whatever. And all of the items on consent are action items because we vote on all of them. So accept, adopt, approve, receive, approve. But we vote on every one of them. So tell me how to word it so I can put it on consent, put my backup on, but it still might be an action item. I mean, I don't know what someone's going to do with it.
Okay, and then all I would do is say, consider taking action, if any. If you don't know, but if you know the action ahead of time, then
Yeah,
it would
sure.
be,
Yeah, if there's a
There-
specific one that I'm gonna have right, I'll put it on general if I need to, but I'm gonna have an update on Bob Hall Pier every single time. Because I want the court to be aware of it and know what's going on, and I want the public to be aware of what's going on.
I was informed the reason we asked to move it from the consent was because it always had all related matters. We kept passing it on the consent agenda and it had nothing back up. We were passing a blank thing. When it has something, a report behind it, that's fine to be on consent. We had nothing on it. That's the reason we said it was
Right, but
misleading.
Right, and I moved it, and I've said I'm gonna put a backup, and I was still told I had to keep it on. It's had backup now the last 2 or 3 meetings, because I was told I needed backup, so I've gotten all this backup, and I'm still getting told it needs to be on the regular agenda. So if I'm getting told now, I can put it on the consent agenda with the backup, it will be on every item,
That's
and I'm
fine.
doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
With the backup if it's turned
gonna
in
go
on
to
time.
consent.
If it's not turned in time, it's on.
Judge, I understand that,
Yeah.
and I get my backup on, from Scott Harris. He knows it needs to be on time. You told me repeatedly it needs to be on time. I know it needs to be on time because I was the biggest griper about stuff that wasn't on time.
yes.
When stuff wasn't on time, and there's still stuff that doesn't get turned in on time that gets handed to us in court, but that somehow gets considered anyway. So I'm hoping everybody gets held to that standard, because the last 2 meetings, people have walked in and handed me stuff that wasn't in the backup, but it still gets on the agenda. So whatever we're gonna do, let's do, but
We try to be very consistent,
I understand
Commissioner. And the only reason yours was pulled out is because we were passing with nothing on there. We were passing nothing. It was a line item. And that if you have something on there and we have something that we've all read and we want to pass, that's why it got moved. So we can be consistent for everybody. Anybody that's out there listening, that is the way it is supposed to be on the consent agenda. If it is something standard, if it is a report, just like we did earlier on the earlier item, it is just a report. There's not a big discussion or action. It's a simple matter that can be put on there. If you have something that it needs to be voted on or an action taken that might take more time, I would suggest, but you can put it where you want to, that we put it on the regular agenda. Moving on then to item number 2, discuss and reconsider placing Mr. Atwood back on the Nueces County Emergency Services District 4. And this, I received a letter from Mr. Wilson yesterday because of in light of the information and the court received and the discussion at our last meeting, Mr. Wilson has graciously withdrawn his application. So this is an open seat that we, because of misinformation, that we can correct our action that the court took. I believe Commissioner Hernandez has a motion that he would like to make.
Yes, Judge, that is correct. Yes, I want to make the motion to nominate Mr. Jeffrey Atwood to the.
second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the motion passes, but I would also like to once again thank Mr. Wilson
Yes,
for
ma'am.
his graciousness in allowing us, and we do appreciate his application to serve, and we appreciate people in our community that are willing to step up. We hope that he will continue to do so and maybe apply again in the future, but thank you very much for allowing us to correct a mistake. So,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mr. Wilson and Mr. Atwood. Thank you for reapplying, sir.
yes.
Appreciate you.
And congratulations, Mr. Atwood, you are back on this board. Moving on to item number 3, discuss and consider the cancellation of professional services agreement with Texas State Roofing. I know at the last meeting we talked about, we had a contract with Chuck Griffin, and I did finally get in touch with him. I think Commissioner Chesney got in touch with him as well. He has been very busy. He offered to look at our roof repair project for free to glance at it because he hasn't had time. But in light of the last meeting where we were presented with Richter and I believe Mr. Govan, we already had those plans and the estimated amounts. So we need to cancel the contract with Texas State Roofing. I will make that motion to cancel our contract for $25,000. We have a motion and a second.
Judge, just quick discussion. I did want to mention to the court that Mr. Giffen did send you and I both a text this morning that says he has reviewed the plans and specs for the county courthouse. The plan systems and specifications are what I would recommend. The plans and specs are ready and suitable for the courthouse and should be able to go out to bid.
Oh,
So
yes,
he did
thank you.
verify
Yes.
that. He did do what
We
we
just
asked him
got those
do,
to
and-
him this morning too, so he's really been over backwards. He had a lot of things going on in his company, and he apologized the miscommunication. He wasn't aware of the original contract date and stuff, so no way, shape, or form mean this against him at all. He has been over backwards since he found out to try to help us out, and he did this for free. Is the reason we're canceling this contract. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Number 4, discuss and consider the Nueces County Courthouse and Jail Roof Project, including the plumbing piping project and other related matters. And I know Govind is here to talk about this, but I know the funding source. I think Teresa and Commissioner Gonzalez and we have worked extensively to try to come up with the funding for the roof. Govind, do you want to talk first about this, or is this simply about funding, since we had already gone forward with the plans?
I think
So-
it's already been talked about and all that, so I'm here to.
So then I would go, Teresa, you want to present the funding that we have come up with that? The total cost, I'll go ahead and start while you're getting ready or something. The total cost for the courthouse roof and the jail roof, the estimate was going to be $7,876,561. The ARPA money we had budgeted for this project is $4,297,000. The shortage is $3,579,000. And we have worked out a plan that I will let now Teresa take over because, and Edward's been notified, people have been notified about this or something, so it's not a shocker to anybody.
So we still need Mr. Govan up there, I guess.
Mr. Goodwin, you can sit down. If we need you, we'll pull you back up for a question. Thank you.
So the shortage is 3.5 for the courthouse jail re-roof project. And the recommendation is to reallocate $2.7 million from the ARPA park upgrade funds of $6 million. For that, to help with some of that shortage. It won't be the complete amount, we'll still be short $879,305, but it would allow us to reallocate some CO funds back to the Parks Department in order to
Give them
give
some
them
of
back
their
$2
money
million.
back.
So their net reduction will be $700,000.
And 2 million will come
Unless
from the
it's-
COs.
Yes.
Right, the COs would be from 1901 general capital projects, the 2015 COs, 2016 COs, 2017 COs.
And those are just unused
They're-
countywide funds?
The majority is like 800,000 is the county judges' funds, maybe 400,000 is Commissioner Precinct 2. The others are balances that are available from
Countywide
completed
project,
projects, from the unallocated balances. And this
And that's on the-
particular series.
I'm sorry, that's on the COs you're talking about?
That's correct,
Yes.
Commissioner. You have a handout there.
Oh.
And these particular COs allow for park upgrades.
So it's
She
just-
verified
For
before looking at them. They're all cleared for park upgrades to be used, the money.
Construction upgrade.
But this would keep all of the roof project money, except for the 800, we're still looking for that amount. in ARPA funds where the project is all used for one fund, and then this could be reallocated, and it gives Edward more time on his park projects to,
Okay, and I'm sorry, was this just handed to us today? too?
Yes, sir. I tried to talk to you about it, Commissioner, but yes, I put that there this morning.
When did you, I'm sorry, did you?
This morning I tried to talk to you.
Right, so this wasn't in our packet, we just got this
No,
handed to us?
we were trying to find the funds.
No, that's fine, okay. So, can I have a minute to
Yes, sir.
look at all this and
Yes.
maybe come back to it since this wasn't in our packet and I haven't had a chance to look at it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? I mean, sounds reasonable.
absolutely.
So are each precinct providing funding or the judge fund?
This is, except for the countywide projects, out of these COs, it is mine and Commissioner Gonzalez's, because we were working on it. We wouldn't take any of y'all's funds unless it got approved by you.
Well, Commissioner Modis, if you wanted to do it, but we had to
I
ask.
think there was a little
There's
bit, I
an
think
amount,
Teresa
right,
talked to you, is that their
104,000.
amount from him? Did you
Yes.
get cleared from him?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so I was
Well,
gonna say,
I-
there's three of us
There's
that are
three
on
of us
here.
that are already on here,
So,
yes.
I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
we've all spoken with you and given you the
Spoke with Teresa,
okay.
yes.
And so,
Anybody has any little extra?
right, right. But just, I mean, I know we want to be thorough and look at these numbers, but we've all given our okay on our parts, and that's what's
Yes.
going to help make this up. I'm trying to help just move us along.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Thank-
That's
it's,
correct,
We're-
Commissioner.
we're
there's a
trying-
majority of
we're-
us that have spoken directly only with Teresa, and it seems like we all are in agreement, so.
That this is an
think
important
we're- I
project,
think
and we
we're
need to
ready.
come up with the
Yeah.
funding for it, for the roof project.
Correct.
So-
And are there available funds from the other two?
Yeah, y'all are,
Commissioners,
this is
yeah.
kind of hitting, yeah, I don't even, I don't know. I mean, this is, anyway, if y'all want to allocate your own today, that's great, but I haven't seen this except for 5 minutes ago, so I don't have a clue what you're asking for. So, but if y'all
We're
want to
still
do
gonna
it.
be short, so we can allocate,
It's like a swap, Commissioner. The ARPA funds for the parks projects is $6 million. And so we want to reallocate 2.7 of the ARPA dollars towards the roof project to keep it all in ARPA. And then, for the roof, and then replenish the Parks Department back $2 million from,
No, I understand the concept, I just
The-
got the information, so I mean, if you're asking me to look at mine right now, I got no clue, because I didn't even know we were doing this
I
till
have
right
not
now.
included,
so.
I
We
have,
all-
okay, though. I'm glad
right.
y'all
We
got
all
it worked
just
out.
got it, Commissioner, not just,
No, but you worked with
somebody's
Teresa
got to
on it.
work on it. I mean,
Nobody's, what does that
So-
mean, Commissioners? I mean, good, it's
you
still
do
supposed to be in the
need some
packet.
time to look at this. We can bring this back since everybody has it and come up with the funding. This is the plan right now, unless someone else comes up with a better plan. We are short. What it's basically telling us, and even if no action is taken today, Commissioner Gonzalez put this on, is we need $7,876,000 for the roof project for the courthouse and the jail. We have $4,297,000 allocated for it. So somewhere, and I say I would make the motion to move this to our next meeting, February 7th, to give each of the commissioners time to look this over and approve. Definitely think you don't vote on something like this without having the time to look at it and go over it. So I will make the motion to bring it back to our February 7th meeting. And in the meantime, hopefully, everyone else will have a chance to look at it and see if there are ways. I
Second.
will tell you, and thank you, Commissioner Hernandez, that we have spoke to Edward, but for us and looking for the funds, felt like the parks was the best place that affected the whole county to pull money from if we were gonna do that. Also told him that we were gonna try very hard to put the COs as much as we could back into his parks fund so that he could do things to his parks.
and the good thing about the COs, he's not tied into all the restrictions
Yes.
that ARPA is tied on, and he can work on it as he goes.
And quite possibly, it may be the will of the court to pull more money to make up the balance for that out of the parks. So
Judge, I'm
That
fine
is
if you
a
just give me some
discussion.
time to look at it. I mean, I know you've made a motion to table, but I just need some time
You come
today
back.
to look
Come
at it. That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying you
we
have
can
to.
bring it back later if you'd like
That's all
that, but
I
I
was asking. I
understand
just
you
need
need,
to-
this
right,
is
I
not
just-
something to be thrown at you and just say,
Right,
I think
so-
she tried to
but-
meet with you, she wanted to discuss it with each one or something, but
Well, yeah, I think she may have come by this morning when I was walking, I think.
Right, I did it last night, Commissioner. I
You
mean,
didn't-
I
did you
put
call
that
me?
document together, but I didn't, I went by
Right.
this morning trying to
Right,
reach
yeah, I
you.
didn't, nobody mentioned that anybody needed to talk to me or anything, and it wasn't in the packet, so I didn't see it. So I just need some time to look at it.
Well, I'll
And-
pull it until, I'll wait to table it until after executive.
that's-
Yeah,
yeah,
you
that's
can bring
fine,
it, we
'cause-
can bring it back. Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, discuss and consider award and execution of agreement for,
She withdrew her motion. She's just gonna wait until later.
I'm
hold it. She
I'm
will
gonna bring
hold
it back. I withdrew it until, I'll bring it back, and if we need to table
hold
it,
it
we'll
for
table it then, or we'll move forward, okay? Sorry, I wasn't clear to y'all. Item number 5, discuss and consider award and execution of agreement for 1.173490 with GrantWorks for grant management services and disaster recovery. This amount was higher, and Commissioner Gonzalez did negotiate with them to get it down. We're appreciative of that, and Commissioner Gonzalez, this is your item. It is using a percentage for each of the projects that they will be managing on all of ours. I think we all received that at the last meeting. Under ARPA balances, ARPA amounts.
Yeah, I think it was a 2.9%.
It was 2.9%, but then it dropped down to, Nicole, you want to come talk about this now?
Came up to 1.173.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Natalie Gonzalez with GrantWorks. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be here.
Natalie.
Good morning, Anna. Cece's here too. So I've got Ken Pavovar on the call this morning, so he has really been a critical person to putting this contract together and really working with us. So Ken, you're on the phone as well. Feel free to chime in. I know we started with an original of 2.9. What was the official percentage? Because I know we're at 1,173,000, but what was that percentage change? Do you have that calculated?
The percentage of the new value is 2.676% of the total funding we'd be managing.
Thanks, Ken.
2.76.
And didn't we have the ARPA money set aside, what we were going, I guess this has a list of what each commissioner per your projects you would be allocating towards GrantWorks. And that was after our discussion with any projects that had already started, were near completion, those were excluded. Any projects that had not started and that were going to require extensive work from them, they were not going to need to reapply. They were already approved and going forward. But this was the percentage from each person, each precinct on their projects, what your amount would be.
And Teresa, did this incorporate some of you and I discussed this on the funding, and did this incorporate some of the stuff that we talked about as far as where to reduce? Because I'd made some suggestions on this one as well,
Right,
too.
and it's the second page as far as how the second page shows the breakout for funding.
Which is the
the
second
back?
page. Yeah, on the
On the
back,
agenda
right.
item.
Reduce the park upgrade allocations. I think this was some of the stuff that you and I had discussed
Yes, sir.
when asked about what might help find, because there was a shortage on this one, I think,
That's
as well, to do it. And I think it's an up to amount on this contract, right? So it's a matter of, in other words, it's not it's an up to, and we just have to have the funding for the up to. So if someone, because I'm still hoping that grants is the lead on this and GrantWorks is the, like, aid, because if we have a grants department for a reason, and I know that they need help, and to me, this is still, our grants department is the lead and GrantWorks is assisting them, right?
Well, this one is, the revision is now a fixed cost.
Oh, it's a fixed
This
cost.
is a fixed
Not to
fee
exceed- not to
for
exceed.
all of the projects that they're going to do.
Not to exceed 1.173.
That's the total, 1.173, 490. And so they took the total amount of all the grant funds that they were going to manage, and they divided that out by each commissioner to get a precinct, to get a percentage that would come from each commissioner's fund, each court member's fund. And so that breakout, the county judge is 102,372, precinct 1 is 99,830, precinct 2 is 93,406, precinct 3 is 93,421, and then Commissioner Chesney, your total is 83,463.
Okay, so now it's just gone to fixed now instead of,
Fixed.
okay.
Right.
That's the
And to
difference.
come up with the difference on the bottom, instead of using option 1, then option 2 are the available balances that would be put towards to make up the 1,100,000, yes.
Okay, okay, so 102 up here, and then tell me how this,
700,998 plus the 472 at the top would make up the total for
That's
grant
correct.
works, yes.
countywide projects
Countywide,
recommend?
yes.
Okay, so when you're saying option 1 and 2, it's
Option
either
1's
or?
not in anymore because we were planning to use that with the roof project trade. But option 2, we have the ARPA grant manager position, the Colonia's money, the Collier Johnson and Woods that had the balance remaining, and the Haggerty balance remaining.
And that adds up to 700,000?
Yes.
998?
Yes,
That
uh-huh.
adds it all up.
So we would have to unallocate these monies from ARPA and reallocate to the grant works.
Okay, so what you did was you took my reduced park
Yes.
upgrades and you switched it somewhere else.
That's correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Just so Commissioner Gonzalez knows that there were other people working on this besides him, since he doesn't seem to.
You say you were
I-
working on
Yes, you did too. So, okay, so.
Credit, we'll give you credit.
No, this is your item, and I appreciate you working on it. Okay, so that makes sense. Then that's what I was trying to figure out was what happened there, because this was what we had talked about coming up with it, and then
So
y'all
it's
just.
here as option 1.
No, it's okay. Wherever it goes, it works the best, and.
One that's really taking the hit here is parks, hopefully we can get it back to parks. So,
Okay, gotcha.
Well,
Okay.
not on this one. This one doesn't have anything, that's on the roof project. Parks has taken the hit,
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Taking the hit.
Okay, and so tell me with this, what role grants plays, because this is a lot of money.
Explain what you're going to do for that money, please.
Because
Yes.
this is a lot of money that we're spending, and it needs to be explained. This is ARPA money, not, it's all taxpayer money, but this is grant money that we got for the American Relief Protection Act. This isn't coming out of the general fund. This isn't coming out of the taxpayer pocketbooks. This is what we're deciding to use these funds for, to make sure that someday it doesn't come back to bite us in the tail and then come out of taxpayer funds. So this is a bit of an insurance policy is what I would call it. But I want to make sure, I'm really still very interested in making sure Grants is super involved in this and understands this, so that, not that we don't one day want to not hire Grant Works, but we have a grants department for a reason.
Of course.
And so if someone can explain that, I would appreciate it. And I'll
Sure.
be quiet.
So, very, the role as far as what the grant, how we're going to work with Grants Department is, I think that through conversations, how we arrived at this point is agreeing that, to sort of reiterate what Judge has already mentioned, we're only managing certain projects that have been already allocated, and then some of the unallocated amounts. Grants Department will continue to manage what they've already started. We'll have to work together because it all has to be reported to Treasury, and so we will continue to coordinate. Our main point of contact is still going to be Anna, because Anna's ultimately, her department will be responsible for the oversight of how these funds are managed on the county side. And then, again, Ken is on the phone, so he can give you greater detail on what our role is gonna be for management. But to go into a summarized version of it is, we are talking about sitting down and assisting with developing projects, sitting down with your engineers, talking about how this is going to be built out to get these projects that have already been selected going, and those funds that have not been allocated, assisting you in selecting projects that you can apply those funds to, developing those. Then it's oversight of that project. So it's actually managing the project. It's not just necessarily the reporting aspect, it's actually making sure that we're following the implementation on how to actually make that project come to life. So,
And that's a great explanation. And the reason I'm hitting on this, and I think we all have and I'm not going to mention names, but I think we all have a sensitivity to a prior consultant that was hired that many of us don't feel like we got our money's worth. And I'm not speaking for anyone else. I'll just say I don't feel like we did. And that means I don't feel like the taxpayers of Nueces County did. So I'm super sensitive to making sure that we do this right. I have a great deal of confidence in you and your company and what you've done so far.
Thank you.
But understand that we're paying a lot of money to make sure that you have our tails covered, and I don't know how else to say that, to make sure that we're
Sure.
doing
Keep
this right.
projects moving, keep paperwork turned
Right,
in.
and getting
keep-
this done,
yes.
because these projects have got to get done, you know? I mean,
Correct.
we have got to spend this, allocate it by 24, we gotta spend it by 26. It's gotta be right, because nothing that you're gonna work on can come back and haunt us. And so that's my sensitivity on this, and I'm glad we're able to get this worked out, and I think y'all are gonna do a good job, and I support this, so thank you very much.
thank you.
So I would make a motion, I'm sorry.
That we go ahead and hire Grant Works.
Unallocating and
Allocate.
allocating these
Yeah, let's do
funds,
that.
directing them to Grant Works
And then to be
contract.
also on the,
You
to
wanna-
not to exceed 1.173.
You wanna unallocate first and then make that motion?
Oh, you
Yeah,
can,
we need to
Yeah,
unallocate
let's
this
unallocate
bottom
the
list,
funds.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay.
Which is option 2, you wanna do that?
yeah.
Yeah. Option 2.
And
Yeah, I make a motion that we go with option 2, available balances that are listed on there for, do I need to mention all of them?
Unallocate the following.
Okay, following
yes.
Veterans Food Pantry, nonprofit return funds, ARPA grant manager position, Colonia Septic System Assessment, Colonia Johnson and Woods, Haggerty Consultant. The remaining funds that are there now to be reallocated to the Grant Works.
second?
We have a motion and a second to unallocate those funds, the $700,998. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that, to reallocate them to the grant works.
To reallocate them, we do it in the same thing? Yes, okay. And to reallocate them to the Grant Works project, Grant
Towards
Works
the
contract.
countywide project.
For the countywide projects, yes. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you very much.
And then,
Thank
Judge,
you.
if, I'm going to make a motion that we, assuming everybody has agreed to this, that the individual court projects from the county judge, commissioners precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4 is listed, would also be reallocated to, or allocated to the grant works
Yeah, that
contract.
These are
percentage.
balances, so
That
they would just
percentage,
be
yeah.
allocated, yes.
As listed in the backup for court, for county judge precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those would be allocated to the grant works contract as well. That would be my
Yes.
motion.
I'll second.
$472,492.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. And one more thing, I think Michael needs to clarify something we're not doing.
If y'all could officially making a motion to award and execute the agreement with Grant Works for grant management services for disaster recovery, including American Rescue Plan Act grants under RFP number 3525-23.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. We look forward to
Thank you.
this. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Moving to item 8, discuss and restate the policy that every department in Nueces County is open to the public 5 days a week from 8 to 5. This came up because of Workday. We have a couple of departments that have been working 4/10s, and we do not have that implementation in Workday. It's going to cost the county money in order to set that, because when you take a day off, it's only set to give you 8 hours instead of 10 hours. I wasn't aware any departments were doing that until this got brought to my attention, so we thought we should probably bring it to the whole court for discussion.
Yes, Your Honor, when we were initiating a workday process through our staff as well as HR staff, it required us to put our personnel policy within our workday, so it would be able to generate some items. Our current personnel policy only allows 8 hours for regular employees, 8.6 hours for law enforcement for sick leave, vacation leave, and that leave. And that's why right now the restrictions in workday are from our current personnel policy. And that's when we found out from other departments that some were working 4 days, 10 hours a day. And some of them are understandable, but they would need to bring that to your attention to be able to change that. And if those are items that you would agree to change, then when the personnel policy would need to be changed.
Okay, but let me back up. This has nothing to do with law enforcement. They're 24/7, they're, yeah.
Because of their collective bargaining agreement.
I heard you say something
spells
about
out.
law enforcement, so this is excluding law enforcement. This has nothing. This is simply any county employees that work for the county, period. And I know Juan is here, and his employees were using this, and I know the probation department came and asked. They came and brought it forward. I think they have possibly used it in the past, but what is the cost to the county if we implement this?
Right now, we would work with Workday and my staff on implementing and putting in the new personnel policy that we have. I don't believe that's a significant increase on cost. It will be a small amount, just to make sure we have the information in there right, making sure it's tested correctly. So I wouldn't expect it to be a large amount, and there's already funding in our current process to cover this, so I don't believe there would be an additional cost, because we already have funds available.
And I wasn't implying that we all agreed to do that. I think that is a court decision. I think
Yes.
it opens up a can of worms. I wasn't aware any departments were doing this, is what was alarming to me. And then if it gets out, then how many other departments would like a 3-day weekend? So,
And our old timekeeping system allowed this, where our new timekeeping system, because it works
Does
on
not.
policies and procedures, it does not allow it, unless the court does decide to change.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Commissioner
Well,
Modas, you
just,
want to talk?
I know Juan's here. I don't know if any other department heads that are wanting to share their thoughts, because
Argue their case?
I guess, I've been aware of Public Works. It's just kind of a matter of life when I got here, that their schedule is how their schedule is work, and they're a little bit more unique than maybe some other departments. But just in general, I mean, I'm open to a department head being flexible, because the one thing I've learned over the years is, we can't necessarily give bonuses at the end of the year for good work or what have you. All we do is give pay, and if you can give time, that's so precious. I mean, people will take time, being able to be more flexible, still putting their hours in, but you don't miss out, right, Juan? I mean, you're covered Monday through Friday?
Yes, Commissioner, that is correct. Our services are still covering Monday
Tell
through
us how
Friday.
this works for you. Tell us how you do this.
We have 3 yards, Judge. We have the Robstown yard, we have 4 yard, and we have Central yard. The 2 yards that work Monday through Friday is Robstown yard and 4 yard. And total personnel that we have.
Monday through Friday?
I'm sorry, Monday
Yeah,
through Thursday.
okay.
Sorry about that.
And
Monday
what
through
are the hours? When do they come to work?
They come to work at 7 a.m. and they leave at 5:30.
And do they take an hour lunch?
They take half an hour lunch.
Half an hour lunch?
Yes, ma'am. And so they get their 10 hours per day for Monday through Thursday. And then we have another crew that comes in, I say crew, but another staff that comes in Tuesday through Friday that covers the services all the way from Monday through Friday for the work that we do.
So
The
what's
longer.
the difference in your Monday, and your other crew?
The crew that comes in on Monday through Friday they're out there working on.
Thursday?
Monday through Thursday,
It's
sorry,
like,
Judge.
wait, you're
Yes, ma'am.
confusing me, yes.
They do most of the roads and the reconstruction of roads and drainage and they do all that type of work. The crews that come in on Tuesday through Friday, they're the mowing crew, but they also do driveways, they also do drainage, they also can do
Is there
the
a reason
roads.
that they can't do Monday through Friday, or is this just something because of the pay scale, like Commissioner Modas was saying, that we have offered to our employees or something?
And Judge, I mean, I've been here going on 6 years. This is the way the crews, that we've had our crews working. I know if Jerry was here, Garcia, he would say in his 42 years of working with the county, they've been doing it. So it's nothing that has been changed or nothing that nobody, it's just the way
Office staff is still in those yards regular 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Yes, ma'am. And then
This
we
is
also,
only
and then,
crews going out working in the field.
yes, ma'am. And then we also have our clerks work Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. So if anybody calls the Robstown yard, there's somebody that answers the phone at the yard. If somebody calls the 4-yard, there's somebody that answers the phone at that yard. And then at the central yard, those are our we call them mechanic shops. And some come in Monday through Thursday, and then some come in
How do you
Tuesday to
decide
Friday.
who does?
No, ma'am, we
Yeah.
haven't had any issues regarding who comes in at a certain, as a matter of fact, we haven't had any complaints from anybody about our schedule. And it's worked. I think the long hours helps us out by being at a job site. You don't have to reallocate, and you don't have to go move your heavy equipment, move them back, and then come back Friday and move the same equipment, have the same, 10, or I'm sorry, not exaggerating, 5 to 6 cars going out to the job site an extra day on a Friday. So you're gonna reuse your fuel, you're gonna reuse the heavy equipment to drive it all the way over there, and that takes time. This way, you have your crews that come in early, they get to the job site early, and they can stay late till 5:30 or 5, and then demobilize and then come back to the yard. If we end up doing this, then we only have 8-hour spread, and that kind of condenses the work. So, and I know this is probably not the right way of saying it, but we are going to be probably, we're not going to be as efficient as we were if we do have those long hour days.
But you're open to the public 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Yes, sir, we're open to the public from 8 to
Okay,
5.
well,
Yes,
I mean, if
sir.
you're, my concern would be when a department isn't open to the public from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, because we serve the taxpayers. We're not a private business. We shouldn't be making a decision to have less access to the public. That's not something that I think would be good. So I don't know that you would be in the area that would be concerning because you're doing work. I would be more concerned about a department that's not open to the public from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
No, sir, we're,
And like the one, and then I didn't know, I can't say that I knew all of that. I think you've always been efficient, so Commissioner Monas knows more about it than I do, and I acknowledge that, and that's good. Because I can call you all the time. I mean, the public can call you all the time, that's the case. But what about the departments that, are those closed? The ones that I didn't know we had ones that were.
No, they alternate too, and.
But there's-
Humber's here, his has had a policy of 410s as well. You want to come up to the podium and talk to?
Yes, I'd just like to add that I asked community supervision to come as well as juvenile justice, because they have staff that are working that schedule. I do agree with you, Commissioner Chesney. We are to be open to the public Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. That is on our website. But I do encourage any schedule that improves our operations and meets the needs of our staff, and they can let you know how that happens by their schedule, so.
Judge, Commissioners. And as you're familiar with our department, our probation side, and then we have this institution side. And so real quick with the institution, as we have too, similar to the jail, although we're not a collective bargaining, we have been working non-traditional hours for years, and really that's out of a budget necessity. We have 12-hour shifts and a swing shift. If we were to go to the 3, 8 to 5 shifts, or 8-hour shifts, that'd be a lot more employees to have to hire. And that's on the facilities, which has been operating for years that way. On the probation side, which we have about 75 people, for the last year, we offered them a non-traditional 10-hour, 4-day work week. Now, we're open from 7:30 to 6:30 every day. And so we offer them, first of all, it's voluntary. So half of the department basically chose this. And a lot of them have schedules that, whether it's kids, whether it's making appointments, they're being more efficient in making their doctor appointments on their either Friday or Monday. It's not just all Friday that they take off. We make sure that it's balanced, and we have to have people there on Friday. Obviously, a lot of people would like to take Friday off, but every unit has to be covered. And so they split it up between either a Friday or their Monday off and still get the 3-day. So it's been working for us for the last year. We did suspend this, however, for the last month when we found out that this may have been a hiccup with Workday or what have you. So on the probation side, it's temporarily suspended at least until further notice from the Commissioners Court.
Or until Workday can implement something so your guys can get paid, because that's what brought all this to light, is they aren't getting paid if they're taking off, so.
Now, the way Workday's set up, for example, for his staff, if one of his staff is working 4 days, 10-hour shifts, and they take a day off of sick leave or vacation leave, they would normally be 10 hours, however, Workday only lets them put in 8. So it'd be 2 hours short.
So we have, I mean.
So that needs to be
That would have
addressed.
to be immediately addressed
We need to know
if
what
this
departments
goes
that the court
forward.
would allow
Yes,
this to have
yes.
to be done, yes.
Well, you know, we got a work date, I always thought it was to be a better program, to be more efficient, to be all this. And now we have problems where we got kinks, so we can't do this, we can't do that. I think we should, if workdays go as good as they say it is, I think we need to be flexible. I
Now,
think,
Commissioner, it is
you know,
flexible, and we can do this, but the Workday requires us to follow policies and procedures, and policy and procedures says that we have 8 hours for vacation and sick leave, and it's 8.6 for law enforcement.
Well,
That's
at
all
one
we
point,
have, so.
at one point,
that's what the policy
at
says,
one
and that's
point,
what
it
y'all
was
approve
approved
it.
by somebody, because I know Mr. Flores has been doing this for, 15, 20 years. And I know, Public Works, when, Jerry was here, when Sullivan was here, they were doing the same thing. You know, and I think sometimes when they're out there working on the roads and want to finish the roads and, you know, having to come in at before 5 because they got to come in and punch out, it just creates another problem, you know, of not finishing the jobs and not having the time to finish the job. You know, and what happens in emergency times, you know? How do we record the overtime? You know, are we gonna have problems recording the overtime?
No.
No?
No.
So then they shouldn't have
They can
problems
clock in
recording the.
whenever they have. The only question we have is if they want to take sick leave or vacation leave. That's the only question.
So it can be fixed.
Okay, that's one thing that I just make sure, and that was the reason why I remember that we got this expensive, software, because it was gonna be a lot better, more friendly to use, you know, and then we're gonna be able to do a lot of things that we weren't doing now, so. You know, I can understand one, screw, because sometimes, you know, they're out there, and I think that when they're mowing the yards and mowing the highways and mowing the roads or the county roads, by the time they come back in, they almost have to leave. They almost have to leave over there 2 hours early to get back to the shop. So, you know, I think that, what, right now is it's working. One's office, I know that is open, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, and, you know, I can walk in there different times, and I know they're there, I know they're open, so.
So I think that seems to be more of the issue, that all county-wide offices should at least be open, no matter how
yeah,
you do
sure.
it. They should not be allowed to close.
I agree.
Any other offices, I know that's what Commissioner Chesney was maybe alluding to. We have had some offices that have closed, they say because of shortages or something. At least one window in that office or something should be left open. I do understand that they have work that needs to be done to be caught up, but it seems the general opinion that we cannot close. And in section 157.021, the hours of work of county employees, Jenny, you may look it up, subchapter B, hours of work, it says, in a county with a population of 350,000 or more, the Commissioners Court may adopt and enforce uniform rules on the hours of work of department heads, assistants, deputies, and any other employees whose compensation is set or approved by the court. And all of the departments, their employees their compensation is set. So I believe no matter how you do it, the will of this court is we are open to the public, the people we represent.
I agree with you, too. I think people
Whether
come,
it's a skeleton crew or what you have, however you make
I had
it
people
work,
come to me and
but the
say-
offices will be open from
I
8
had
to
people
5.
out there, Judge, at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, said they're closed, you know, and so they shouldn't be closed. They they are closed, you know, so I'll go check and they're closed. So, you know, I don't know how do we get the word out to everybody that we're gonna close at 4 o'clock, we're gonna close at, you know, what days of the week and everything else.
Well, I think if we do this other, if they need to close some of their windows to get paperwork
one
done
open.
in order for them to get out, that is understandable. But at least one window needs to be kept open for people that maybe possibly can't come in until Friday or can't come in until after 4. So I would, I guess, accept a motion that this would be added to our Nueces County policy for
Excuse me,
future to clarify.
Excuse me, Judge, I also want to
Yes.
get on board here. Public Works has always worked since I've been here, and even back in the 60s, they would allow them to work their overtime, or they would go in a few hours, an hour or so early, depending on if the summer weather was real hot, and they want to let the employees, start work early so they can get off a little bit earlier, and that's been allowed. And Dale, am I hearing from you that this new program doesn't allow this to happen?
It allows, if the department wants to have them come in at 5 o'clock in the morning, they can, and clock in, clock out, that's fine. The only question we have is, for example, let's pick one of the staff for one. They say they work 4 days a week, 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. They want to take 1 day vacation. Right now, Workday says they only take 8.
That's what I'm saying, so,
But then you're short 2 hours.
but you didn't know this before you got this Workday program?
Workday has, based on policy. Policy and procedure says that, our policy says we only give them 8 hours. Our policy.
Our policy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Personnel policy.
Well, I understand that, but, I mean,
Soleil, we're only allowed to give someone, our policy only says if they work 10-hour days, we can only pay
Doesn't
them.
say about anything else. It says that if you want a vacation or sick leave, it's for a regular employee, it's 8 hours. For law enforcement, it's 8.6. And that's certain policy as approved by court.
Dale is correct, that our policy is set up that way. We can amend the policy if the court should please to do
So, and that's for
They
law
want however much they
enforcement
want, but
as
if they
well,
wanna
and
take
that's part
vacation-
of their collective bargaining deal. And then, so we've only been paying them 8-hour days when they took vacation. We've been shorting them 2 hours a day for years.
No, when
Is
we were
what you're
working on the
saying?
old system and old executive time was not set up by policy and procedures, they could do whatever they wanted.
We do it before.
Now, because
So
Workday
now if we
requires
move
this,
forward though, is this going to affect our collective bargaining? Because those guys work 12-hour days, some of them, those
because
guys.
the collective bargaining agreement addressed that, we've already had it set up in our Workday for that particular event for the collective bargaining agreement, because it is a union, and the union controls that, so that was not an issue. They can have put in their time based on, for correctional officers, it's 12 hours, so they work 12-hour shifts, 12 and a half to be exact.
And we only pay them 8 for a leave.
No, we,
8.6.
for a collective bargaining agreement, if they request a day off, we pay them 12.8, yeah, 12.5 hours.
so how do they get paid the 2 hours you say they're gonna lose?
For law enforcement, which is.
No, no,
collective bargaining
I'm
agreement,
talking about the regular employees.
they'll be short 2 hours,
We just
unless the department tells them to come in and work 2 hours.
Or unless we amend the policy.
Unless we
So we
amend
need
the
to put-
policy
So we need
right
to
now.
put something,
Yes.
well, we
The
can't
old
do it
system,
today,
there
but
will
we
be.
need to post it and
In the new system,
discuss
there
it.
will be.
Yeah.
I mean,
The policy will be amended for these particular departments, we allow them to use 10-hour shifts or whatever may be the case.
excuse me, Mary Ann, known you for a long time, and you've always taken care of the time for Public Works.
And can you come up to the microphone? Sorry. It's like, we can't ask you something
Sorry,
without
put you through
everyone
that.
else being able to hear. Thank you.
All right, what you need, Ron?
Well, I just want to know and tell us, in all your years of doing the timekeeping for Public Works, they've always worked those 2 hours extra or had that shift change.
Well, it's not extra, because they're getting their 40 hours. It's not 2 hours extra, but executive time allowed us to put 10 hours for their leave for their benefits. But Workday does not allow that.
So-
It only allows 8, so we have to try to figure out how to get that other 2. The first pay period that we just did we were okay, because they worked 8 hours because of the holidays. And this week as well, or last week as well, no, this week as well, because of the holiday. But on regular weeks, when there are no holidays, the 410s come into play. So we feel like it's easier for the men, particularly when it's hot outside, to start early. They leave a little later, but they get their 40 hours. And we had no idea about this policy. Nobody'd ever seen it written down that it had to be a certain way,
Yeah.
until I tried to put in a leave for someone and wasn't able to.
Well, I didn't know that this is the way Workday was going to work. You know, we were told that it was gonna be a whole lot easier for everybody.
Well, once the kinks get worked
Eventually.
out, and we all have to learn how to do it, it'll be fine, I think. But right now, you know, this is quite a roadblock. And asking them to change their schedule until the policy gets set into place, if it does, then, you know, we're gonna have a lot of slowdown of work, having to go back and forth that extra day because they'll have to work 8 hours.
Yeah.
So Dale, I think what you said was the solution is if we change the policy, workday can be changed. Okay, it's pretty simple. We just need to put it on the agenda and
We need to bring this
discuss
back for the
it.
next
Right.
agenda to change the policy.
Not a hard fix.
Right.
Just need to put it on, post it as an agenda item and put it on, and you're just gonna have to work with it.
But the
till we get
policy
back.
already states that we work 8 to 5, all departments, so.
Right, he's saying, I don't know what he's saying.
The policy doesn't just address the hours, it just says that for
To
vacation.
address
sick leave,
that
it's
as
8 hours
well,
based on
that
that.
bring that back to the court too about when we address the policy allowing this, that also our offices are open from 8 to 5. Even if you shut down a very large portion of it, you will have a window or at least something open for the public to be able to access those services.
Well,
in
that's
that
on for
department.
today. We can do that today. If I thought it was, I thought it was already a policy that we were open 8 to 5 to the
Yes.
public.
Yeah.
So either way,
Okay.
we can do that today and make that, if that
And
needs to
just
be.
change the other for workday, the policy, the 10 hours next week, put that on.
Unless Jenny thinks it's related matters.
I would think it's related matters.
They're all related.
I know. Jenny, can we do both today, since we have related matters? Do the workday implementation of the changing for the 10 hours and to add to the policy about all departments in the county will be open?
I'm unable to opine on all county departments being open as per Commissioner's Court order. That was not requested of me prior. I believe there is some research that I would need to do on that before that.
Why would you not have, why do we have to do research on whether we want to tell everybody it's 8 to 5 opening? No offense, but I don't even understand why would you need
Why we're
research
even
on that?
Well,
discussing this.
respectfully, I am not at this point convinced that the Commissioner's Court has that authority over all the electeds and how they have their offices open. I understand that statute, but I have to be sure that it is not the number of hours or when the hours can be dictated.
Okay, well, so I think we say it, and then if you find it's wrong, we'll bring it back, because
Did you
we are
look
a
up
public
that section
institution,
157.021?
and we need to be open 8 to 5.
Yes, but it's possible that that does not go to individual workers' hours under elected's authority. So I know there are departments, appointed officials, probation, for instance, is not, has a whole different authority that it answers to. And there are departments that do answer completely to the Commissioner's Court. But on the other column I took this out of previous budget books, it may be that there's some different authority under the
Elected
electeds.
officials, if they have a separate authority than this.
Excuse me,
They always change elected
I remember,
officials.
when I was working as a county employee in purchasing, the rule was when there was a skeleton crew, as long as there was a supervisor that ran the department, there always had to be a supervisor at the office. What I'm saying, when we had a skeleton crew, okay?
And Public Works isn't appointed by the Commissioner's Court
No, I
body.
understand, but.
All of the department heads that answer to the court.
But the
would-
public doesn't go to the yards to go speak to anybody. They come here, speak to Juan, and as far as I know, Juan's always in his office, available. So, I don't see any problem in that, We should try and work with them and fix this time concerning thing.
I agree. And we want to change workday. I think that's unanimous across here. The other thing I want to point out before we get too far down the rabbit hole is we have mentioned holidays. Holiday pay is only 8 hours for any employee that takes a holiday. That is not, I think we looped all of that together. That is sick days or vacation days or whatever that this affects. Holidays, you only get paid 8 hours if we get paid on holidays, so.
Yeah, that's
yes.
that's why they've always worked
Yes,
the 8
yes,
hours
yes.
in holiday weeks. But
Yeah.
I would like some clarification. If we have to wait for you guys to do what you do for this. Do they have to start working 5/8?
Unless there is a way to manually change that where they can get paid or they can hold off on taking any time off. But we can't do anything about workday if it doesn't allow us to adjust that. But I
We'll work
think,
with our consultants on Workday and see what we need to proceed. If it's a agreement of the court, it's probably most likely a pass to get the balances where 10-hour shifts for those that work in 10 hours and for,
okay, those people answer to us though too, Jenny. Since we have a related matters, can we do both of those? The regular, all departments must have some staff here from 8 to 5 and to
Provide
implement the workday to allow for the departments that work 4/10s to be able to be paid.
also we want to work with the juvenile department because their detention side are 12-hour shifts.
Yes, yeah. So,
I mean, I think
It'd be flex
I think the
time.
policy of the Commissioners Court should be every department in Nueces County, period, should be open to the public from 8 to 5.
And if you
If an
tell us we
elected
can't do
official
it,
wants to
yeah.
do something different and they can explain that to the public and we can't do anything about it, then so be it. But I think that's the position that we should take because I do not support in any way, shape, or form any department, elected or non-elected, being closed during the work week. And I want to be on record very publicly saying that because I do not support any department shutting down. We are a public entity. We owe an obligation to the public, and we should be open from Monday to Friday, 8 to 5.
Elected
So
officials come and go and the hours stay the same.
that's the way it ought to be.
and I also think if there are departments, elected officials that are shutting down some of theirs, they can have a window open. The public has access to those services.
That's right.
I understand if you are swamped and trying to get your work done, we're working with other departments to work on their schedules, but the department is open every day from 8 to 5 at least, so, yes.
So
I just want
That
to bring
could be
to
a good
the,
motion, yes.
I want to bring to the court's attention that there may be a financial fee involved with this configuration change because our policies are based on the previous policies. If we change our policies, there may be a cost associated. We are well into the implementation of Workday, which started on 12/23, and any change now will have a financial impact. I
He
don't
said
know
it
what
was
that
gonna
fee
be
is.
minimal.
He said very minimal.
He said it would be
And we have
minimal
funds available
earlier,
to
yes.
do it. So I believe we could cover this with no additional charge to the county.
Okay,
Okay.
so Judge, can we do it one at a time, if that's okay?
Yes,
I would-
that's fine.
I would like to make the motion that the Nueces County policy is that every department in Nueces County is open to the public 5 days a week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, excluding approved county holidays.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Okay, the next motion, Commissioner?
I'm going to let someone else do that one.
Oh,
I don't know,
okay,
I don't
okay.
know what you want to do
Like,
on that one, sorry.
As far as the flex time you're talking about?
How
what
do
do
we
you- what-
motion that if you've been doing it? I'll make the
Just make
motion
a
for
motion that we-
Workday
that we
to
work with-
implement
work with Workday
the,
and HR to bring up your policy, changes the policy to address those that are 10-hour workdays or 12-hour workdays for those that are coming forward.
So move.
I don't know what he said, but okay.
make the motion to allow Workday or the auditing office to implement the policy to work with those departments that have 10-hour workdays or 12-hour workdays, that they can continue, and so those people
We'll make those
taking.
changes then, because I know HR is going to require there to be, their policy to be changes, and also they have to change the other, they have two policies they have to change, one for collective,
Before we get a lot of
As long as they are
people-
fully open and accessible to the
Yes,
public.
before we get a lot of people,
Yes.
other departments
Yeah.
wanting to do this exact same thing, you must understand your department will be open and staffed. All of your services will be available
Right.
to the constituents.
Yeah, and I don't really understand, I would like to hear why community supervision's doing this. I don't really understand why they're
Oh, go ahead.
doing,
Yes,
why they're
uh-huh.
doing it. I mean, I heard from
Same
Homer.
reason Homer's doing it, Commissioner. We have a 24/7 facility, substance abuse treatment facility, where we have people there 24/7, and that's one reason. The other is incentive reasons. You know, we have, it's been many years since we've had pay raises. County gets pay raises, we don't get pay raises. We're not funded by the county. Our funding comes from the state.
So you're not a county employee?
No, we're not.
No, they're not.
If
They're
you're
not.
then wha-
So
then
why do
does-
we have
We're their
y'all, why
fiscal
are we
agent based on
concerned
a
with
straight
how
law.
you get paid?
Well, the problem is, we use Workday because the county uses Workday.
Oh,
So I really don't have to follow county policy on a lot of things.
So are you a state employee?
We're not a
the
state
state
employee either.
reimburses us for
What are
his,
you?
We're judicial employees.
Who pays you?
Their funding comes from a grant from CJAD, and they're basically employees through that function of that, so they're not necessarily county employees, even though they're part of our workday process, because we have to count for them as a separate entity, and we're their fiscal agent.
So we utilize TCDRS as far as,
we do the payroll for
retirement,
y'all.
but we have
We just
state
implement the payroll.
insurance.
Who hires you?
CSC does pay us a
The
certain
judges
amount of fee every
appoint me
year.
as a director,
Okay,
and then I hire my employees.
so they're not county,
They're not.
They're not, no.
Their payroll just runs through our system.
Correct.
Yes,
It comes from the state, but it runs through our system.
Grant.
as a fiscal agent.
Yes.
okay, so they're not a county department.
No, so we would have no jurisdiction over you.
Correct.
You just
Don't
need
worry
this
about it.
implemented so
Exactly,
that you can get.
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not a county department, so then, fine, so then we're down to juvenile probation and public works, and so
Correct.
we're only really approving it for those two at this
That's
point.
correct.
Only those two,
Only
that needs
those
to
two,
be part of the
yes,
motion.
yes.
And I would assume we would want to add that anybody else that wishes to do that would
Come
have to
before
come
us.
to court and get
And
approval
justify
for
it, yeah,
that.
because
Yes,
this is
and
not,
justify
this is a
this.
slippery slope if we're not careful.
I agree, but I think you do it for two, you're gonna have a lot of people in here.
And for professionals who have court till all hours or have clients in the office till all hours, we also would ask that same
Yeah.
flexibility.
We already have another addition.
Oh,
I think we gotta
I
bring,
mean, it's not a change, Judge. This is how we practice.
Yeah.
And I want to assure the court, even though we're not county employees, we do try to follow as much as possible what the county does, just so there's some unity. And I also want to assure that we are there, open to the public, Monday through Friday, even though we have people working 4 days sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're working till 12 midnight. So, we do home visits at night, so we have to alter the schedule also.
That is part of the motion, that they are required, whoever you are that implements this is required to have your offices, your department open
It's a little
to the.
different, just like law
yes.
enforcement.
Yeah.
And I want
Yeah.
to thank the payroll department, because I know they've been working with us this
It
last
is.
couple of
It's
weeks,
been a
trying to
big
do these
headache,
hiccups
yes.
and things like
There are
that,
gonna be
so I
more.
thank them.
you're making me more and more uncomfortable with doing this. I'm not sure, I mean, this is getting, where do we stop here? I think this
I
is a
think
bigger
the
discussion. that-
implementation that you say your office has to be staffed, and staffed, I mean, you have to be able to handle whatever call you get or
But
people
anybody can
that
say they're
come
doing
in.
that. And, because everybody wants 4-day weekends,
Yeah,
everybody
I-
wants 3-day weekends.
Well, I'll
and-
tell you, that at the pay that we're doing,
Yeah.
I mean, let's look at our pay, let's look at the presentations we've had from Estrada and Hinojosa and give us our state ranking. We're 15th in the state population-wise, but pay overall is around the 25th. So there's a big gap with smaller counties that we are not meeting pay. So if we can't do it, because every year we're tying our hands together because of the tax rate, and I get it, I've supported, I voted for it. But if we can't go that way because we don't want to put that burden on the taxpayer, then we got to find other ways to incentivize. And I'm all for giving our managers more flexibility to say, hey, we're still going to be operating, because I think everyone would agree, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But if they can create an A shift and a B shift where people come in and maybe are working 410s or something, I think that flexibility would also be more appreciated. So I want to just make sure that we include that, to give that option. And if it has to come to us piecemeal, I agree. I think we've opened Pandora's box, but I think that that's going to help us incentivize staying here, because talk to Juan. We were talking about this yesterday. You train your guys to get their CDLs and they go work for the state or somewhere else. All these different departments that we go, I was speaking with Kevin Kieschnick yesterday. He gets his people trained and they go work for the state or some other agency. So we got to find a way, if we can't do it monetarily, which we try to do every year, we try to give a little bit of increase. But that's not catching up with inflation or anything else, cost of living. then let's give some flexibility. I know it's gonna become a mess.
Yes.
But I think that gives a manager to be more creative and hopefully helps with retention. And if it doesn't, maybe we do it short-term, and if we see no change, then we go back and just say, everybody, make it easy. 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, unless you're elected, if there's no
And
provision.
I agree with you, Commissioner. I think we need, but I think that we should also say, don't come to us and say, I need help because I don't have enough staff.
Right, no, I
Because you-
agree. They have to make it happen, I agree.
Right.
They have to make it work, yes.
So we had a motion and a second already with stipulations. Were you still suggesting that they need to come to court, everyone, and ask permission for that? Or let the managers decide on their own? And, I mean, if we do it for 2, I can't imagine we're gonna say no as long as they're staffed, but you put the stipulation that they have to be open
I
and
think
fully
Commissioner
staffed.
Gonzalez is
Yeah.
absolutely right. It's like, if you tell us you can't make it happen, then you gotta realize that there's certain staffs, there's certain number that I don't know what it is, that some departments may not be able to do it, but Public Works can make it happen.
Larger
Even though their
departments,
office staff
more
are typically
likely,
gonna still
yes.
work a traditional schedule. Their field staff are gonna work the non-traditional. So whoever that may apply to, I'm okay with that, but.
I agree with you 100%, Commissioner Mreza, and I think that is the way to move forward with it. If you limit it to the larger departments that have the staff to make this schedule something that can work and still meet the needs of the county by being open during normal business hours, that is the way to go. You incentivize the employees by offering this alternative schedule. It doesn't affect your budget. It's not costing the county anymore because they're still gonna get paid the same, just getting paid differently. If we look at it that way, we will minimize the number of inquiries. My department has no way of making a 4 10-hour schedule happen. I only have a staff of 4, so it's impossible for my department to do it. But larger departments like Public Works, Juvenile Justice, Community Supervision, and others that are large in size can accommodate that. And I would think that would be the primary consideration for our policy.
This might even help for recruitment. Some people
Absolutely.
may look at it as a benefit.
It is a huge incentive that really makes an employer the employer of choice. And if we add this value to our county operations, we will increase our retention indeed.
I would think so.
Yes, sir.
So move forward.
So we had the motion, we have the second. Do you have those? You got those, who they were? Okay. Do you want to wait?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I just.
So we have a motion and a second to allow Workday to implement this for our departments that are large enough the managers can decide, if just making sure and reinforcing one last time, your department, your office will be open. Services will not be shut down. If we come to you and you say, well, we can't do that one service because our person is out on this day, your full department is required. If you implement this, and it has
You
to
gotta
still
cover
have
it.
full services
Gotta cover
available.
it.
Yes, it's got to be covered. So, all
Let me
those
judge.
in favor? Oh,
I would
sorry.
like to add that there should be a supervisor at all times in the office
Yes.
that can make a decision.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes, and we will see how this goes and put it into our policy, Mr. Soleil, and we may bring this back and see that it doesn't, but it's a good trial run and see how it goes. And we have to implement it anyway for those other departments, so Workday needs to get moving on that.
But as you said, Judge, even if these departments go 4-day, 10-hour shifts, they still realize that a holiday is 8 hours.
Yes, yes. Okay. Moving to item number 9, Commissioners Court dates. I know we changed one last time. Are there any other, any discussions with any of you coming up with Commissioners Court dates? There being none, I'll move on to item B1, grants. Adopt a resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Office of the Governor's Criminal Justice System. The department that is requesting these items will use their forfeiture funds to pay for the match for this, so there is.
If they have a forfeiture
If
fund.
they have a forfeiture. If they don't, can they request it then?
We did look through these when this was brought to us during the budget cycle. Most of the departments do have the funds available. There was one that doesn't, and there was a small, already budgeted amount of 1,000 something. It's a smaller $1,000 from the general fund for that one precinct. But the rest precinct have the funds available.
Okay.
And the funds have been
this is
budgeted.
for body worn camera things, so, and it's already been budgeted to
That's
that
correct.
department,
Yes,
so, okay. I will accept a motion to allow this grant.
Motion to accept the grant.
Second. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept this grant.
This is to apply.
To apply for this grant,
apply.
sorry, not accept it, I said accept. Apply for this with the matching funds coming from the forfeiture funds in those departments, and the one department that does not have matching funds coming from their budgeted funds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I think we already said that, aye, sorry. Item number 2, discuss and consider including the Veterans Assistance and the Veterans Treatment Court grants in the vendor payments exception list, not requiring Commissioners Court pre-approval. We took the veterans out for a short time. I think that it was fully meant that we had intended for veterans grants to stay, but I know when we voted a while back to take those out of the
Exceptional.
exception list, that, how do you feel about this, Dale?
Originally, why I was taking it out, because was that issue we had with social services and others issues that they were not providing some information for us. However, social services does very limited amount for these two grant items for the amount. So as long as we have the approval of this and we have the invoices in question and they come to you and myself for approval, I believe it'd be qualified.
So they would still be doing the reporting that they report to
Yes.
you and myself?
Yes.
This
Yes.
just takes them off, then
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I'd like to
Okay. Yes.
clarify that social services does not handle any of the Veterans Treatment Court.
Just the veterans assistance?
Yes.
Yes, yes, understand, yes.
And the Veterans Commission frowns upon, we have to justify
Yes.
why a payment is not done in 60 days.
So, number 1, moving forward, I will make the motion to put the Veterans Treatment Court on the exception, back on the exceptions list. I think we took them off inadvertently when we took the other off. This is a total separate thing that
That's correct.
doesn't, yes.
That's correct.
So I'll make the motion for that.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. On the Veterans Assistance, I will make the motion to take them off of the exceptions as long as they continue with the documents that they are turning in to the auditor's office and the county judge's office, that they would go back on the exceptions list as well.
Which one?
On the
Veterans
Veterans Assistance,
Okay.
that's social services, but
That's your-
they've been turning in both paperwork
Yes.
to both of us, so.
And so, can you restate that motion, Judge? I'm sorry.
I am making the motion to put the Veterans Assistance back onto the exceptions list as long as they continue to provide the documentation that they have been providing to both the auditor's office and to the county judge's office for them to be able to go on to the exceptions list for checks.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving on to purchasing. Thank you, Michael. Item D1, discuss and consider conditional selection of Victory Building Team for the Medical Examiner's Office.
Yes, Judge. We had a proposal opening for CSP for the Medical Examiner New Facility and Renovation Project. We received 6 bids. The recommendation from the committee and the recommendation from the architect is to conditionally select Victory Building Team for the American Rescue Plan Act-funded Medical Examiner New Facility and Renovation Project, CSP number 3252-23. They had a base bid of $7,300,000. I understand that once we do conditional selection, that will start the negotiating process, and Juan can work with this vendor to do value engineering, is what I understand he plans to do. And Juan can speak to the details of it, but I think there were some opportunities, I think, with the foundation where they thought they could save some money on that.
And then, Michael, can you just tell us who Victory Building Team is exactly, please?
So,
I believe it's local is my point.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the write-up from Javier.
That'd be good. He gave us a letter of recommendation, but it didn't describe it in there. Are you talking about something else?
Yeah, I was just seeing if he had any indication on here about that.
And I think while he's coming up, the reason we have to negotiate is that's over the budgeted amount?
We had
Correct.
7 million budgeted for this project.
And 7 million was turnkey, or no, we
Yes.
paid for his separate, right? We paid for architect and designer separate, right? So
Yes,
the
he was funded prior to.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Javier, you can do it again. Whoever wants to do it, I just want to, I'm glad we're looking at local, that's great.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we had a very good participation on the bids, and the top four, the percentage of the bids were really close to each other, so that always tells us, that there wasn't really a bust or, something that was missed in one of the bids. The other thing that we did is we analyzed the schedule of values for those top four and comparatively looked at them and to see if there was anything, glaring that was maybe missed or something that to be a concern. There's nothing like that. There is, the overage. Right now, we're about 300,000 from the 7 that we wanted to be at. There's opportunities that we want to look at. We want to have the opportunity to go back and work with Victory and try to find, bring down the cost so we can get it in the budget. Also, there's some alternates that we didn't have, or that would be highly recommended if it, if we can find the funds,
In
to
addition
do
the
them. Yes.
7.3, yes.
Especially the HVAC and the roofing of the existing building. Those two items, essentially, if we can do those two items, then the building per se is gonna be brand new. Even with the renovation and the new addition, we're gonna end up with a new building with new HVAC and new roofing. Right now, the roofing is really bad condition, and the AC units for the existing part of the building, they're very old. So the good thing is that the construction of the project is about 18 months. So we're gonna be doing the addition the next 12 months. After that, we move into the old part. And so we have a little bit of time, maybe fiscal year, that we can look for some extra monies, and then maybe later, next year, come back and see where we're at and see if there's an opportunity to pick up some of those alternates. So we don't have to make a decision now, but that's, it would be a good, I think it would be a good time to do it, because right now it won't disturb the facility. It can be done cleanly, and I'm saying on the phase 2, it can be done cleanly.
The prices won't go up.
And
And the prices won't go up.
And, yes.
you're not anticipating that you could get down $500,000 so that we could do the roof and the HVAC? If you got it,
Yeah, we're gonna.
because we're 300,000 over and you add another 200,000, if we could not,
Right.
500,000 off, we could do the required things.
Yeah, we're gonna look
I
at
would
it.
work towards that,
Yeah,
yes.
yes. So we're gonna look.
Next year, I'm
we
not
talked
sure
about
funding
that,
is gonna be
Judge.
any better.
Yeah, we're gonna look at everything.
Yeah,
We're
we
gonna-
had a
we're
good
gonna
talk
look
about
at-
that.
We're gonna look at everything that we can get out of it. And I already instructed our one of the items that was, I'm gonna say, really skewed from what we were expecting in market, was a foundation. And so we're really gonna look hard at that one. And so I instructed our structural engineer to already design a different system. And so he's already working on that. So hopefully I'll have that, quickly. And I'm gonna give it to Victory so that they can price that different design foundation. That one line item, it's very high. And that's the only one that was, from our comparison of other projects, that was the only one that was glaringly off, from what we thought it should be.
Anticipated,
Yes.
yes. Mhm. And so you're asking for us to do a conditional selection to allow the negotiations with this this company, and we never found out who this local company is?
I'm gonna let Chris Hamilton tell you a little bit about
Is Chris this
Victory.
local company?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Hamilton, Victory Building Team.
We didn't know you were
We're entering our 22nd year here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we're proud to be low on this job, proud to be awarded conditionally, and we'll work really hard to get it within budget.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve.
Second, Judge.
recommendation.
We have a motion and multiple seconds.
Commissioner
so-
Hernandez can have it.
Commissioner Hernandez seconded, yes.
It's all good.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed, same sign. The
This
motion
is a
passes. This is the
thank you, Judge.
Big
condition.
project.
Thank you,
We
Commissioners.
appreciate you doing it. We know we're gonna be riding you pretty hard on this one. You know, these public projects are important, and this one's one that, I know Commissioner Gonzalez has spent an enormous amount of time on. The court's looked at it for a long time, so we really need to upgrade that place, and we know you're gonna do a great job, and appreciate you being involved with it.
Understood.
Excited
We'll work
about
very
it.
hard for you. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
you.
Moving on to item number 2, discuss and consider the conditional selection of McGriff Insurance Services for employee benefits and consulting services. And I think Commissioner Modas, you were the lead on that, so.
There was the committee, selection committee that went through this, and we have the score sheets, I think.
Oh, the score sheets are on there.
Oh, thank you.
And just a reminder of the court, we've been without a consultant since the start of the fiscal year, or just prior to that. So it'll be good to have a firm on board helping monitor our day-to-day. And if we collectively support the recommendation or any of these groups, that I would just recommend that we begin looking at exploring or putting out on the street a bid for health insurance. This would be our consultant, but for the actual health insurance.
For them to begin working
For
on
them
that.
to begin
yes.
working on that, exploring that. That does take a while. It is a process to learn our system, all of the nuances that we have here at Nueces County. It won't take too much, but especially if this is something we're considering, it could have a positive impact on our budget. Typically, when you go out for new, especially services like healthcare, you can capture some cost savings in the early years. Typically, they're bundled 3 to 5 years and then renewals after that. So that may be something to consider. Can't guarantee it. We don't know if we do support McGriff, if they're going to be, if they could find any firms locally, nationally that would be willing to or be able to provide us some savings. But I would say my past experience is we have a better chance of finding some savings going out. And we could keep the same company. It's just a new process, a new bid, and then maybe they can find some cost savings. Our current provider's done some great work with us over the last few months, especially since we've been without a consultant. But I would always think that it's good to put out for a bid just to keep everyone on their toes and keep us with the best numbers possible for us, for our employees. So that would just be my caveat to recommending McGriff Insurance to be our consultant.
Thank you. Is there a reason this is conditional selection too? Did they not?
So
I
this
mean,
is our normal
yes.
process for
Yeah.
any RFP. The very first step is conditional selection.
Okay.
That will allow the department head, for whoever the project is for, to begin negotiations and then come back to court with a contract. And then at that point, the court would then vote to award and execute the contract.
Because we have to do it within the budgeted amount that we have budgeted. I would
Yes,
hope
that's
they
what I
have,
was
right, and then,
wondering.
do they have a local office?
So what I'll do is I'm gonna turn this over to Dale and Timothy. They were the committee members on this. I was just there to oversee and make sure that we had a.
But you know if they
fair
do or
score.
don't. I mean, you know if they do or
Fortunately,
don't.
Commissioner,
I believe they're out of San Antonio.
They're out of San Antonio.
Do they have a branch here or anything, or
Unfortunately, at the
anyone?
moment, they do not have a branch in Nueces County. Their closest one is San Antonio. When we did our evaluations of all the companies that are on this list, there was only 2 local, and the 2 that were local had very small amount of relative experience or relative time. The closest ones were San Antonio, 3 or 4 of them were from Dallas, and some of them were from a different state. So we went through and evaluated all these companies. We found that McGriff, even though they're from San Antonio, they're not that far away. We can definitely do team meetings and other Zoom meetings at the time to get them here. And as you see, it's only a small increase from what we're doing at the moment. Right now we were paying $7,000 a month. This is $7,500 a month they're proposing. But what they're also proposing is now we're having 8 people working on it instead of just 1. So we believe the return on investment is very profitable for the county.
Judge, I would make the motion to approve the conditional selection of McGriff Insurance LLC for employee benefits and consulting services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
And thanks to Dale and Timothy for going through this, because man, I know how much that was a lot of stinking stuff to go through, and thanks for facilitating
But
it,
stinking,
Michael.
there's a lot of paperwork.
A lot of stuff. I didn't know, I couldn't come up with a word other than, it was just a lot of stuff.
I know Tim and I would read through each one of those proposals at least 5 times to make sure all my questions were answered. And then Tim and I met with Michael on this when we discussed this. And when I gave my top 2 or 3 and Tim gave his top 2 or 3, this was at least one of the top 3.
We appreciate you.
One of the biggest benefits that we have by going with McGriff is that they have given us a guaranteed rate for 5 years at $7,500 a month, and I thought that was phenomenal.
Yes.
Given 100 years of experience and 120 locations and being in close proximity, we have a professional network to choose from, and I think it really would add value to Nueces County.
Only question I have, can they choose to go to different hospitals, or you have to be stuck in one hospital?
These are our brokers, the dealers. They'll be working with us, and we're working with Michael on when we go out for bids for third-party administrators or our networks or whatever it might be coming up for bidding requirements,
Part of what
including
they'll
our
negotiate for the
prescriptions
future.
and wellness centers. So they'll be working with that on that.
Yeah, we gotta have more than one, maybe.
Yes. All right, so we have a motion and a second for the conditional selection. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes.
Okay, thank you very much, and I'll just remind you on both these items, we'll be coming back to the court with a contract for you to
I just
consider.
have one real quick question. Will this also cover, like, out of town? Sometimes people go out of town.
Okay, so this is the consultant, right?
consultant,
He's
not
gonna
the-
represent
Oh,
all
okay,
of, all
okay,
of
I
our
got you.
needs.
I
Yeah,
got
this
you.
is not the actual
We'll
insurance
negotiate
selection.
those things
We'll come back
later
for
on,
that.
yes.
And I believe once we get this person under contract, the first thing we're gonna do is wanna bring him into the insurance committee and get him introduced to everybody.
Okay,
So he can get some direction
I'm
from.
with you now. I'm with you.
Okay.
you,
Item
Mike.
number D, HR, discuss and consider creating one admin assistant number 2 position, a pay grade 23 in the district attorney's office to be funded through salary savings from the reduction in force deletion of one criminal investigator position, pay grade 4.
And this is, Judge, I'm
This
going
is-
to make a motion to pass this, but this is permanent salary savings that they're doing this with.
Yes,
And
and this is-
comports with the policy that we've been doing going forward. So I would move to pass this according to that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I am going to vote no, and I let Mr. Granberry know ahead of time if this was going to pass, that I made the promise in the budget last year that I would not vote for these again in the future. So this is only because of my promise, and it is passing, and I would have had to eat those words, and I apologize for that, but I do understand the need for this
So
position.
it's only if it,
If it has salary savings, but I said those are supposed to be done during budget time, and I made a promise publicly in court that I would not support these, so that is the only reason. And Mr. Granberry, your item already passed, so thank you very much. You didn't need my vote, like I told you, but I apologize, and I think we need, more things, and appreciate that you found the salary savings to get yours accomplished, but mine was only because of the promise I made earlier in the year, so.
Probably sometimes I do better when I don't appear at all.
Thank you very much.
I apologize for stepping out. Thank you. Not be excused.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to item E, information technology. discuss and consider authorizing and approving the execution of a contract for $54,967 with Insight Public Sector under Omnia contract. And thank you, Daryl, you're up here because I'm looking at, what is this?
Has this previously been budgeted?
Funds
Yes,
from
actually,
his budget,
yeah,
IT. Yes.
It's not anything new. Renewal was coming up in January anyway. This is just a $12,000 increase, so it took it over $50,000.
But it's been budgeted. It was
Yes, yes,
budgeted.
it's already
You have it in
budgeted.
your
It's
funds.
our backup system, backs up our software and data, and we've increased the users by 430 for
Motion
accounts
to
that we
approve.
created.
Motion to
email
approve.
accounts.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. We are getting ready to go into executive. Commissioner Chesney, do you want more time on 3A4, or do we?
I haven't even looked at, I'm sorry, I've
Yeah,
been
okay.
paying attention to the agenda. Sorry, I haven't even looked at this yet.
We'll bring it back after executive then, and see if you get a chance to look at it then.
Which one?
I'm sorry?
Right. Okay, so she's saying, Judge, I guess to clean up the motion to accept the land from CC High Point Investments for the drainage project.
Oh, contingent on the county attorney's approval, yes,
As
okay.
soon, I'm going to say as soon as the county, not contingent, as soon as the paperwork is completed.
And I had to amend my second too, so.
Thank you for doing that.
And, okay, we have an amended motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Thank you. Moving on, is there anything else that I missed other than the one item we're bringing back later? At this point, then we are going into executive session.
There,
Sorry.
Just for clarification, just for the dotted i's and crossed t's.
Yes, sir.
On item 3A6. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sorry.
That's okay. Were you out of the room? Sorry.
She's on the chase, she's on the ball, she got it.
Good job. This time, we are going into executive session. Public notice is given that Commissioners Court may elect to go into an executive session anytime during the meeting to discuss matters listed anywhere on the agenda when authorized by the provisions of the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, to the extent there has been a past practice of distinguishing items for public deliberation and those for executive session. The public is advised that the court is departing from that practice and reserves the right to discuss any listed agenda item in executive session when authorized by law to do so. In the event the Commissioners Court elects to go in an executive session regarding an agenda item, the section or sections of the Open Meetings Act authorizing an executive session will be publicly announced by the presiding officer. In accordance with the authority of the Government Code, Vernon's Texas Code, Section 551.071, 551.072, 551.073, 551.074, 551.0745, 551.076, 551.086, 551.087, the Commissioners Court will hold an executive session to consult with the attorneys, including matters related to litigation, deliberate regarding real property, prospective gifts, personnel matters, including termination, county advisory bodies, security devices, and/or economic development negotiations, and other matters that may be discussed in an executive session. Upon completion of the executive session, the Commissioners Court may, in an open session, take such action as appropriate on items discussed in the executive session. Item A, discuss and consider the appointment, the employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of the Nueces County Department heads as scheduled, Texas Government Code 551.074. And let me just clarify for anyone that is watching, this is the wording that our county attorney has said that we are required to use for this. No departments are being, this is just a department head evaluation. This is not
Okay, but from the county attorney's office, we would ask that the departments be identified. So as it stands, this is not as we would prefer the language.
Is it required?
You have, well,
Because it's just our evaluation. It's not like we're bringing them in for disciplinary. This
Right.
is starting of an evaluation that has never been performed.
what would be required would be for the individuals to have notice prior.
They were
And
noticed,
so
yes.
that's good.
Yes.
But as the level of scrutiny goes up, if it is a negative action and if it is an employee that has a lot of public interest, then yes, that would need to be specified in the notice.
We took this off as of last meeting because we had a person listed and only have a short time. We're trying to work all of these in because in the past, no, we have never done these before. And the Commissioners Court, because they answer to all 5 of us, we are having to add them onto our agendas. So we wanted to leave it open. If we just list all the department heads behind this, would that cover it? So then we could get whoever's available in? Last time, we could have pulled somebody else in.
Where it's not,
It's very inflammatory, like
right,
you're
because
gonna
we're not
get rid
doing
of somebody.
discipline.
It's
Right, all we're doing
I-
is an
absolutely,
evaluation, so maybe
yes.
just work with Jenny from going forward on what the language needs to be, that we're just
Advisory.
doing evaluations, and then if the
We have,
evaluation
and
turns into
she
something
said it
else, then
had
we
to
have to
be
post
this
it
way.
differently another time.
The language tracks the statute. That is the safest thing to do. But if you are going to perhaps do a 2-stage and don't take action,
These are not action, to me, this.
These are
to-
just evaluations.
Right, we would only
This is
do,
for the employee
the next
files.
stage would be, if the evaluation comes out so poorly, then we'd have to repost it as a different item, so.
that's a potential, yes. I mean, we're happy to work with you and figure out what makes you comfortable.
Yeah, just, yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm sure y'all
Well,
can
we
figure
put it
out-
on here, and that's the reason I wanted to state this openly for the public, because it is very inflammatory, and that is nothing of what our intentions are right now with this, yes. Then,
language.
moving on to item B, consult with the county attorney regarding legal matters relating to the status of the trial court cause number 4704 Nueces County, Texas, and Nueces County Appraisal District versus San Patricio County, Texas, in the 135th Judicial Court, Refugio County, Texas, and related matters, Texas Government Code 551.071, and take action in possibly open session. I believe that is all. We haven't pulled anything else in. If you would like for me to state openly for your benefit on the previous item, we do have Public Works and Grants and the Airport Director all coming in for evaluation today. So it is 11:31, and we are going into executive session. Thank you. Okay. Guys, everybody ready? Back to work? It is 1:29, and we are coming back from executive session. We have a motion for item B from executive session. I think I wrote it down. I would make the motion to allow outside legal counsel to continue the case by appealing to the Texas Supreme Court and accepting costs associated with such an appeal to an amount of $15,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Going back to item 3A4, discuss and consider the Nueces County Courthouse and Jail Roof Project. And the funding sources for such that was passed out. And Commissioner Chesney, you said you were ready to move forward with that. You're okay with that?
Yes, ma'am, I appreciate the court's time and allowing me to look at this. My understanding now is that we'll be reducing ARPA funding by $2.7 million from parks. That'll go to the roof, and that $2 million of those in COs, which is outlined on the list provided, will be returned to the Parks Department. That will still leave a shortage in the roof and I guess a shortage in the Parks Department, but we're going to work on that, I guess, at a later date. So if that's my understanding and if that's correct, And those are all from different projects that were, I think that were overages, that were savings in projects and unallocated and so forth. And I appreciate the county judge and Commissioners 2 and 3 for coming up with some funding based on that. So I understand it completely now, and I appreciate the time. Thank you.
So I will make the motion then to pass, if I could, to pass with the funding sources, the unallocating and allocating. And we can give you this list if that's better for you for your notes, because it's pretty extensive. Teresa has it as well. And moving forward for the project. So I will accept a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Is there anything that we missed on here or need to come back to? Any commissioners? Or is there any adjournments in memory of?
I don't have any.
Then I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye to adjourn. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. The motion passes. It is 1:32 and we are adjourned.